3 months ago, I was kidnapped by men who dialed my husband, Jacob, 99 times, and he never answered. While I screamed for help, my captors mocked me, laughing, "See, he doesn't even care about you." Then they shoved me out of a moving car. I was 3 months pregnant. I lay on the roadside bleeding for hours until darkness swallowed me. When I finally woke in a hospital bed 2 days later, my baby was gone. Across the hall, I saw Jacob standing with Nadine, my best friend, the same woman he once told me not to worry about. She was holding their newborn child. Beside her stood Peter, Jacob's younger brother, and the boy who had sworn to protect me since childhood. He was cooing at the baby as if it were his own. They had been in that hospital the entire time, celebrating the life they brought into the world, while I was losing mine. That moment broke something inside me. I agreed to my parents' proposal for an arranged marriage, filed for divorce, packed my belongings, and made plans to disappear. But before I could vanish, I uncovered something that crushed me even further. Jacob and I were never legally married. Our marriage certificate was a forgery. He had actually married Nadine 2 years ago, the very same day I was stabbed in an alley 9 months pregnant, begging them for help while they told me to just call a cab. While I bled and needed 15 stitches, they were cutting a wedding cake. That was the day I made my final decision. I faked my death, blew up their house, and started plotting revenge. In 7 days, I'll be gone for good. But this time, I'll make sure they regret every single thing they did to me. Lily's POV. Mom, I'll do it. I'll accept the arranged marriage. Just get me out of here. I can't take this anymore. I sobbed into the phone. My mother's panicked voice rushed through the line. Do you want me to come right now? No, in 7 days. I need to settle things first, I whispered, my body trembling as I ended the call. I was sprawled on the cold floor, bleeding, the weight of betrayal suffocating me. Just 48 hours earlier, I'd learned the truth, the ugliest betrayal from the 3 people I trusted most. It all began with the kidnapping. I was 3 months pregnant when the gunmen seized me. That night they dialed Jacob over and over, but he never answered. They sneered, "Your husband doesn't even love you enough to pick up the phone." 99 missed calls. That's how many times they tried him. They then called Peter, Jacob's brother and my childhood protector. Relief flooded me when he answered, but his words sliced deeper than any blade. "Stop calling me, Lily. I'm in a meeting," he snapped before shutting his phone off. Moments later, the kidnappers, furious, shoved me out of their speeding car. I remember the blood, the dizziness, and then nothing. When I opened my eyes again, I was in a hospital bed. My body ached, my throat was raw. "No one's come to see me?" I croaked. The doctor shook his head. "I'm sorry, but no. You survived by chance, but the baby didn't." Tears blurred my vision as I clutched my empty stomach. I called Jacob again, and heard his ringtone echoing down the hallway. Frowning, I forced myself out of bed, limping toward the sound. That's when I overheard a nurse speaking brightly. "You're both so devoted. Your wife gave birth 2 days ago, and neither of you has left her side." Then Jacob's familiar voice. "I'll never leave Nadine. She's given me a child. She deserves the world." Peter chimed in. "She'll never be alone. Not with us." Peeking inside, I saw them. Jacob and Peter doting on Nadine as she held her newborn. The child was Jacob's. The resemblance was undeniable. My knees buckled. While I was fighting for my life, losing my baby, they were welcoming theirs. Tears streamed down as I stumbled to the restroom, nausea overtaking me. I clutched my flat belly and sobbed until I couldn't breathe. 4 years of supposed marriage shattered in an instant. And suddenly I understood. Those times Jacob claimed Nadine was working abroad, they had simply been hiding her pregnancy. The restroom door creaked open. Nadine's mocking laugh filled the space. "Oh, sweet Lily. I've been waiting 9 months to see your face when I finally tell you." My chest tightened. "How could you? I trusted you. You were my best friend." "Best friend?" she sneered. "Please. I stayed close to steal your husband. And when I found out you were pregnant too, I made sure that problem was handled." Her words chilled me. "You sent the kidnappers?" Nadine giggled. "Of course." My vision blurred with rage as I lunged at her. She shrieked and fell to the floor just as Jacob and Peter barged in. Their glares pierced me. "What have you done?" Jacob shouted. "Jacob," she admitted. I tried to explain, but he shoved me hard, pain exploding in my stomach. "How could you bully Nadine when she just gave birth?" he barked. Please listen. Shut up. Peter kicked me viciously. I crumpled to the tiles, blood pooling beneath me, as they helped Nadine up and left without sparing me another glance. At that moment, I understood. To them, I was nothing. But soon I'll be gone. In 7 days, it will all be over. After they left, I dragged myself to the restroom door, but it was locked tight. I pounded on it with weak fists, panic rising in my throat. No, 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 I whispered, tears spilling as a sharp ache twisted through my stomach and blood ran down my thighs. I fumbled for my phone, and just then, a voice note popped up from Nadine. Her cruel voice filled the room. Oops. I may have locked you in and hung up a do not disturb sign. Guess no one will find you now. Just bleed out and die already, bitch. The recording erased itself as soon as it ended, leaving me staring at the screen in disbelief. Shaking, I dialed Jacob's number. He finally answered on the 5th ring. Jacob, please help me. I'm stuck in the bathroom, Nadine. I know. His voice cut me off, cold and sharp. I froze, clutching the phone. You know she locked me in here? Yes. Consider it punishment for what you did to her. Maybe sleeping on the floor will teach you a lesson, Jacob said flatly. Then Peter's voice chimed in from the background. And don't bother coming back unless you're ready to beg. The line went dead. I stared at my phone in numb silence. These 2 men, one my husband, the other my childhood protector, had abandoned me after everything. Kidnapped, thrown from a moving car, losing my baby, all because of Nadine. Yet somehow, I was the one being punished. A hollow laugh escaped my lips, echoing against the tiles. It sounded insane, like laughter from someone already broken. By morning, the cleaners found me unconscious on the floor and rushed me back to a doctor. He looked down at me with weary eyes. Lily, what have you gotten yourself into this time? He sighed. I don't even know anymore, I whispered, tears sliding down my cheeks. You've lost a dangerous amount of blood. Your body's been under immense stress. If you don't rest, the damage could become permanent, he warned. I nodded weakly. Thank you, doctor. But his tone hardened. The nurse will bring you the bill. You don't have insurance coverage with us. I frowned. That can't be right. My husband pays for my insurance. He frowned too, and called someone from accounts. Soon, a nurse entered with a laptop. Miss, can I have your husband's name? My heart burned at the thought of saying it, but I had no choice. Jacob Reynolds. The nurse typed quickly, then froze. I'm sorry, but there's no record of you under his insurance. The account lists Nadine Gray and their daughter, Angel Reynolds. I couldn't breathe. My mouth opened, but no sound came out. What? I croaked. It was true. He'd insured Nadine and her baby, not me. The nurse's voice was clipped. How do you intend to pay your bills, miss? Credit. I muttered numbly. She gave me a sharp look and walked out. I almost dialed Jacob in rage, but my finger stopped above the call button. What was the point? He clearly didn't see me as his wife. Shaking, I left the hospital against medical advice and told a cab driver to take me straight to a lawyer's office. Sitting in the waiting area, I clenched my fists to keep from collapsing. When the lawyer finally called me in, I didn't hesitate. I want to file for divorce and sever all ties with Jacob Reynolds, I said firmly, sitting across from his desk. He nodded and began typing. Then he frowned, puzzled. Are you Nadine Gray? You're asking to divorce Jacob Reynolds. My stomach dropped. What do you mean? I'm his wife. The lawyer turned the computer screen toward me. I'm afraid this proves otherwise. See for yourself. On the screen was a legal marriage certificate, Jacob Reynolds and Nadine Gray, married 2 years ago, with Peter listed as witness. And the date? My blood ran cold. It was the exact night 2 years earlier when I had called Jacob and Peter in desperation, begging for help after my car broke down in a storm. Neither answered. They claimed they were stuck in a meeting. That was the night I'd been attacked in an alley, stabbed 12 times, and left to die. A stranger saved me, but I lost my 9-month pregnancy and needed 18 stitches. And now I knew why. Jacob had been too busy marrying Nadine while I bled in the street. The weight of it crushed me. My chest tightened so violently, I couldn't breathe. I staggered up, but the room spun. My knees gave way, and I crumpled to the floor, sobbing. No, it can't be, it can't. The lawyer rushed around his desk, kneeling beside me. Miss, are you all right? Should I call an ambulance? His voice sounded far away, like it was underwater. I curled into myself, clawing at my arms, rocking back and forth as the words tumbled from my mouth. No, 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 this isn't real. It can't be. No, no. I don't know how long I lay curled on the lawyer's office floor, sobbing until my throat burned. When I finally pushed myself up, my face was damp and swollen, but I forced out a breath. It couldn't get any worse. 4 years of marriage to Jacob Reynolds had been nothing but a cruel illusion. 15 years ago, I had moved into the Reynolds mansion after Jacob and Peter lost their parents and sister in a car crash. They'd been my closest friends, and they needed me. I cooked, cleaned, comforted them through nightmares, and held Peter's hand when grief suffocated him. Years later, I fell in love with Jacob. He said he loved me too. When he married me, I thought I'd finally built a family. Like a fool, I poured my life into making them happy. Even when Nadine, my childhood best friend, my bridesmaid, my supposed sister, entered the picture, I never suspected betrayal. I trusted her completely. And now, the three of them had destroyed me in ways I couldn't even begin to process. What had I done to deserve this? Why didn't Jacob just tell me he never loved me, instead of chaining me to this nightmare? The lawyer's voice cut into my spiraling thoughts. Miss, should I call someone for you? A friend? The police? The hospital? I forced a bitter smile. No. Thank you. I'll manage. Staggering out, I felt the weight of strangers' pitying eyes follow me. I hailed a cab back to the mansion. I needed only one thing, my passport. Once I had it, Lily Reynolds would cease to exist. Inside, the house was quiet. Perfect. I grabbed my passport, but as I made for the door, voices drifted from the sitting room. Peter and Jacob sat at the table eating dinner. Nadine reclined lazily with her head in Jacob's lap, looking every inch the doted-on wife. I tried to walk past them without a word. Lily, Jacob's voice rang out. I ignored him, but suddenly, Peter's hand clamped around my arm, bruising me. Are you deaf? He's calling you, Peter snarled. I yanked free. I don't have time for this. Peter laughed, snatching my bag. You want it back? Kneel and apologize to Nadine. Maybe then we'll let you leave. I turned toward Jacob, desperate for a shred of decency from him. But instead, he nodded in agreement. Yes, Lily. The doctor said if we hadn't rushed Nadine in time, she could have died. You almost killed her. An apology is the least you can do. I gaped at him. Killed her? She wanted me dead. I've been through hell these past days, and none of you even asked me what happened. Nadine spoke softly, playing the victim. Let her go, Jacob. She doesn't have to apologize. But Jacob's face twisted with fury. No, Nadine. She can't harm you, and get away with it. Lily, if you don't apologize now, I'll punish you myself. I lifted my chin. I won't apologize for something I didn't do. Do your worst. His eyes blazed. Jacob grabbed a bottle, smashed it on the ground, and dragged me outside. Peter shoved me down onto the shards. Agony ripped through my knees as glass cut deep into flesh. Count to 100, Peter ordered. I bit down hard on my lip until I tasted blood, forcing myself to stay silent. Nadine smirked behind them as they watched me bleed. By the time I finished counting, my vision blurred and I nearly collapsed. Peter tossed my bag at me with a sneer. Useless bitch. Jacob leaned close, his voice like ice. Touch Nadine again, and I'll kill you myself. They left me there, kneeling in blood. Shaking, I staggered to the wall, tore strips from an old dress drying outside, and wrapped my knees. Every cut burned, but my resolve burned hotter. This wasn't going to stop me. If anything, it fueled my determination to erase Lily Reynolds forever. I dragged myself to the immigration office. A junior staffer greeted me, scanning my passport. Are you sure about this? Once I process this, Lily Reynolds ceases to exist. I'm sure, I whispered. He nodded and began typing. Then suddenly, alarms blared, red lights flashed. Men in black suits stormed the room, guns at their sides. What's happening? I gasped as they dragged me into a sterile interrogation office. The chief officer slammed my passport on the table. Fake document. Fraud. You're under arrest. My stomach dropped. No, Jacob Reynolds gave me that passport. Call him. He'll confirm it. The officer called. Jacob answered smoothly. Reynolds' residence. This is Chief Immigration, Officer Lambert. A woman named Lily Reynolds claims you provided her with this passport. Can you confirm you know her? Silence stretched. Then Jacob's voice, calm and merciless. I don't know anyone by that name. I screamed. Jacob. It's me. Please. The officer asked again. Sir, are you certain? This is serious. If you deny her, she will be arrested. Jacob didn't hesitate. I don't know her. Do whatever you wish. Now excuse me. I have to tend to my wife and daughter. The line clicked dead. Handcuffs closed around my wrists. My body went numb as they dragged me away, but I couldn't even cry. Jacob's last words echoed like a curse in my skull. I don't know her. Do whatever you wish. I have to take care of my wife and daughter. That night, I sat in silence, staring blankly at the peeling paint of the prison cell walls. My body was still, but inside I felt hollow. I'd been arrested for presenting a fraudulent passport, and the one person who should have defended me cast me aside without hesitation. Do you have anyone to call? The warden asked, sliding the bars shut. I gave a small nod. My cheeks were stiff with dried tears, my voice raw from shouting for mercy that never came. You get one call. Use it wisely. He shoved a phone into my hand. With trembling fingers, I dialed. Hello? Who's this? My mother's voice, familiar, worried, echoed through the receiver. Relief washed over me. Mom, it's me. I need your help. Lily? Why are you calling from an unknown number? Where are you? She demanded, panic rising in her tone. There's been trouble. I've been arrested. What? She roared. Who dares touch you? Do they even know who you are? Please just tell Dad. I need to get out. And I need a new passport. In my real name. There was a sharp pause. Then her voice softened. All right, baby girl. Hold on. We'll fix this. The line went dead. The warden eyed me suspiciously, but said nothing. Hours later, he returned with grim news. No one can process your release tonight. You'll stay till morning. I said nothing, curling up on the thin bed. But every time I closed my eyes, Jacob's cold denial echoed in my ears. Nadine's false tears. Peter's silence. Their baby's cry. They had stripped me of everything. But in 5 days, I'd disappear. And when I did, they'd pay. Sometime past midnight, I drifted off, only to jolt awake at the sound of metal scraping. The door creaked open. 7 women slipped inside. My blood froze. Before I could scream, a hand smothered my mouth. Nadine sends her regards. One hissed. Then the assault began. Fists crashed against me, kicks drove into my ribs. Nails tore at my skin. One woman yanked my hair so hard, I thought it would rip out by the roots. I whimpered, fought weakly, but I was hopelessly outnumbered. When it ended, I was crumpled on the floor, barely conscious, blood pooling around me. Guards' voices blurred in the distance. Then everything went black. I woke to antiseptic, beeping monitors, blinding white light. A hospital. Don't move, a familiar voice cautioned. The doctor, the same one who had warned me earlier, stood beside my bed. How do you feel? Like hell, I croaked. My throat burned. He sighed heavily. You were in critical condition. You've been unconscious for days. Good, I rasped. That means I have less time left. His frown deepened. No, Lily. This isn't good. The damage, it was irreversible. I'm sorry, but you'll never carry a child again. I froze. My hand instinctively pressed against my stomach. A broken whimper escaped me. I had no choice, he explained softly. The bleeding was too severe. Saving you meant taking that from you. I stared at the ceiling, numb. They had taken everything. Love. Home. Now, even the chance of children. My tears wouldn't come. Only a vow did. If I had nothing left, then I'd make sure they lost everything too. The doctor placed my phone on the bed. It hasn't stopped ringing for 3 days. I opened the screen. Missed calls, messages, photos from my mother. Your father pulled strings. You're free. Your new passport is ready. Flight booked in 2 days. Please answer me. I typed back the only words I could manage. Thank you, Mom. I'm fine. Just wrapping things up. See you soon. As the message sent, the door creaked open. Nadine strolled in, baby stroller rolling ahead of her, a smug smile pasted across her face. Oh, Lily, she cooed. I was so relieved when the doctor said you'd woken up. I met her gaze, expression dead. What do you want? I brought you food, she said sweetly, placing a flask on the table. The boys didn't mean any harm. They didn't know things would go this far. Steam rose from the bowl she poured. The sharp scent of seafood hit my nose, my worst allergy. Get out, I growled. Before I strangle you. Her smile sharpened. But darling, you're still alive. I'm not done with you yet. She pushed the food closer. The smell turned my stomach. Instinctively, I swatted it away. The plate shattered. Nadine shrieked. I froze as my eyes darted to her baby, its tiny hand pierced by a shard of glass, blood welling at the cut. The baby wailed. And just then, the door burst open. Jacob.
Peter.
Their eyes fell on me like a death sentence. What the hell happened here? Jacob thundered. The moment Nadine saw Jacob and Peter in the doorway, she dashed forward and clutched Jacob's hand. She hurt Angel, she cried. I only brought her some soup to cheer her up, and she threw it across the room. You tried to poison me. You know I'm allergic to seafood. I snapped. I swear I didn't know. Nadine whimpered, her tears flowing far too easily. I scoffed. Their blind faith in her crocodile tears was pathetic. Jacob and Peter advanced on me like knights protecting their queen. How can you be so cruel?
Peter hissed.
A night in jail didn't teach you anything, did it? Jacob snarled. Do you want me to punish you again? I met his eyes, my face blank. What else could you possibly do? You've already destroyed everything. For a flicker of a second, Jacob's gaze softened, but Angel's cries pierced the air, and his eyes turned cold once more. I'll let you go this time, he snapped, then stormed out with Nadine and the baby. Let me go. I let out a bitter, broken laugh. Do you even know what I've been through? Do you even know what I've lost? Nadine's soft, trembling voice cut me off. We need to take Angel to the doctor. And just like that, she silenced me again. The brothers hovered around her, fussing before leaving. Nadine shot me a smug little smile before the door closed. Hours later, the doctor discharged me with a grave warning. If you don't rest, you won't survive. I mean it. I understand, I muttered. When I returned to the house, it was empty. I went straight to the bedroom Jacob and I had shared for 4 long years. I pulled out a large box hidden in the closet, carried it outside, and lit a fire in the rusted metal drum in the courtyard. Inside the box were the memories of my wasted years. Wedding photos, anniversary gifts, dresses, jewelry. One by one, I tossed them into the flames. Each item crackled, smoke curling upward, as if burning away the lies I had lived under. I thought of how foolish I had been, loving 2 men who only ever despised me. Every gift, every smile, every word had been nothing but deception. At the bottom of the box, I found the last item, a pair of handmade friendship bracelets. Years ago, Peter had tied one on my wrist, promising, I'll never let anyone hurt you. I'd die before I let someone lay a hand on you. Jacob had kissed me and added, I'll love you forever. Nothing will come between us. Now, holding those bracelets, I let out a bitter smile. Then I dropped them into the fire. That was the moment Jacob and Peter appeared. Their eyes widened in horror when they saw what I was burning. Are you insane? Those were our bracelets. Peter shouted, lunging forward. He tried to snatch them back, but only ended up scorching his hand. Why are you burning our things? Jacob demanded. They're old, worthless. Like the promises that came with them, I said coldly, walking past them. Upstairs, my phone rang. It was Mom. I answered immediately. Lily, where have you been? Why didn't you call? Her voice trembled with worry. I'm sorry, Mom. I didn't mean to worry you, I said softly. I'm fine now. She let out a sigh of relief. Your father's still upset that you disappeared 15 years ago without a word. I'll make it up to him when I'm back, I promised. Her voice brightened, almost playful. He's already thrilled you finally agreed to the wedding. I actually called because I wanted to show you some dress options. I sent a few pictures. I smiled faintly. Don't worry about that. When I'm back, we'll go shopping for the dress together. Just you and me. She laughed happily. That sounds perfect. I'll be waiting. All right, Mom. I'll be home in time for dress shopping, I said, ending the call. But as I lowered the phone, the door burst open. Jacob and Peter stood there, staring at me in disbelief. Wedding? What wedding? Jacob demanded. The boys stood in front of me, arms folded across their chests. What do you want now? I asked, rolling my eyes. Who are you talking to? And what's this about wedding dress shopping? Jacob demanded. My own wedding. And neither of you is invited. I shot back casually. They looked at each other before bursting into laughter. Oh, come on, Lily. You're already married to Jacob, Peter said with a smirk.
Jacob added, Yeah, babe.
If this is just to grab my attention, don't bother. I should have felt insulted by their arrogance, but instead I stayed calm. I was talking about my friend's wedding. I explained smoothly. Peter frowned. You don't have friends besides Nadine. I glared at him. I have plenty of friends. Jacob sighed. Look, about earlier, we're sorry we haven't been paying attention to you. With Nadine and the baby. Everything's been so sudden. I cut him off sharply. Since when is Nadine pregnant, and how did I not know? Whose child is it? Jacob froze, exchanging a nervous glance with Peter.
Peter was the first to speak.
The baby's mine, he blurted. Jacob immediately nodded in agreement. Yeah, it's Peter's. They hooked up once, and she got pregnant. We just didn't know how to tell you, since she's your best friend, and all. Peter nodded along like a puppet. I stared at them, amused. They must think I'm a fool. Jacob tried to change the subject. Maybe I've been harsh, especially with the immigration issue. But you've made things difficult for us too. Peter jumped in. Speaking of which, why were you even at immigration? I lost my passport and was applying for a new one. I lied effortlessly. They seemed to accept it. Jacob then offered. How about lunch tomorrow? Just the three of us, like old times. I frowned. What about Nadine and the baby? One afternoon won't hurt, Jacob insisted. I nodded reluctantly. Fine. They squealed with excitement and hugged me. Their touch made my skin crawl. As soon as they left, I locked the door, pulled out my suitcase, and shoved the rest of my belongings inside. I slid it under the bed, then retrieved the tickets and passport my mother had sent. They had arrived in the mail earlier. My flight was at noon, exactly when I was supposed to be at lunch with them. The thought of their shocked faces when I didn't show up made me smile. I went to bed early, ready to rest for tomorrow. By morning, furious knocking rattled my door. I stumbled out of bed, only to be met by a brutal slap that sent me crashing to the floor. My vision blurred as Jacob loomed over me, eyes bloodshot with rage. What's going on? I croaked. What did you do to my baby? Something's wrong, he roared. I didn't do anything. I've been asleep. Nadine's sobs cut me off as she rushed toward me. If you were angry, you should have hurt me instead. Why poison my baby? I froze. Poison? What are you talking about? I haven't even. Which?
Peter spat on me.
If Angel dies, you'll wish you were dead, Lily. Jacob swore before storming out with the others. I sat up slowly, ribs aching, and glanced at the calendar. A bitter smile crept across my lips. Today marked 4 years since my sham of a wedding to Jacob. Stripping off my clothes, I stared at my bruised body in the mirror. I barely recognized the woman staring back, broken, aged, and battered by years of trying to force love to work. No more, I whispered. I showered, iced my swollen eyes, and carefully applied makeup. Slipping into a short red dress and dark sunglasses, I faced the mirror again. A different woman looked back this time. Strong, confident, unafraid. I spent the next hour putting together an anniversary package for Jacob, 3 neatly wrapped boxes with a note attached. I handed them to the mailman with strict instructions. Deliver these to Jacob Reynolds immediately. Make sure he opens them right away. After that, I grabbed my own luggage and ordered a ride. Standing in the mansion one last time, I laughed bitterly. Wait for me, Reynolds family. My revenge has only begun. I turned on the gas, struck a match, and tossed it behind me as I walked out the door. By the time my Uber pulled away, the house erupted in flames. Watching it burn filled me with a strange, intoxicating satisfaction. And this was only the beginning. Jacob's POV. I paced anxiously in front of the emergency room while Peter sat nearby, Nadine clinging to him and crying uncontrollably. I just hope nothing's happened to Angel, she sobbed. How could Lily be so cruel to hurt a baby? Peter spat, fury lacing his words. Running a hand through my hair, I couldn't shake the memory of Lily's bewildered expression. But Lily's never been violent, I muttered, almost to myself. Peter snapped his head toward me. Lily, you still dare defend her? She's done nothing but bring misery to Nadine and ruin everything for us. She's capable of anything. I tried again, but it doesn't make sense. Why would she hurt Angel when we already apologized? Peter cut me off. This is your child we're talking about, Jacob. And Lily went after her. A frown settled on my face. No, it doesn't add up. Why would she do this? Peter's eyes narrowed as a thought struck him. What if she knows? What if Lily found out Angel is really your daughter? I shook my head, brushing it aside. Even if she did, it wouldn't matter. She's been tied to us for 15 years. Where would she even go? Peter clenched his fists. Then she'd better pray Angel pulls through, because if not, I'll kill her myself. At that moment, Nadine staggered toward me, her eyes red and swollen. She clutched my arm desperately. What will I do if something happens to Angel? Jacob, I won't survive it, she wailed. I pulled her close, kissed her forehead, and whispered, our baby will be fine. Nothing will happen to her. Moments later, the emergency doors swung open and the doctor appeared. We rushed to him, hearts pounding. How's Angel? I asked quickly. The doctor gave a reassuring smile.
She'll be fine.
She just had an adverse reaction to her mother's breast milk. I'd recommend the mother stop breastfeeding until whatever caused it is out of her system. Peter and Nadine exhaled in relief, but my chest tightened. Wait, so there was no poison? Angel wasn't poisoned, I asked. The doctor chuckled. Poison? Of course not. This was a simple dietary reaction. If anything, the blame falls on the mother for not being careful about what she consumes while nursing. I turned to Nadine, anger flooding me. You said Lily poisoned Angel. Nadine broke into tears. I panicked. I didn't know what to think. I'll apologize to Lily. My jaw dropped. You panicked? I hit her. We all insulted her. And you knew she wasn't guilty. Peter returned carrying Angel from the nurse and frowned when he saw Nadine crying. Why are you upset, Nadine? Look, Angel's fine. She's only fine because Lily never hurt her. I snapped. Nadine covered her face in shame, sobbing. I'm sorry. I'll tell Lily myself. It was a mistake. Peter glared at me. Jacob, enough. Everyone's staring. Nadine made a mistake. We'll all apologize. Let it go. Reluctantly, I pulled Nadine into my arms, wiping her tears.
Fine.
But next time, be careful. Don't shift blame onto others so easily. She nodded against my chest. Just then, a nurse entered with a mailman in tow. Mr. Reynolds, this delivery is for you, she announced. I frowned. For me? The mailman stepped forward. 3 packages and a book, addressed to Jacob Reynolds, from Lily Hart. Shock flickered through me. Why would Lily be sending packages when she's at home? The man shook his head. No idea. But I was instructed to ensure you open them before leaving. Peter scowled. What kind of nonsense is this? Another one of her tantrums? Nadine sighed. Just open them, Jacob. Let's get this over with. I set the 3 boxes on a nearby desk and unlatched the first one. My heart nearly stopped. Inside were documents. Our marriage certificate from 4 years ago, placed right beside the marriage certificate between Nadine and me from 2 years back. Peter gasped. Nadine inhaled sharply. She knows, I whispered. Pinned to the papers was a small note, written in Lily's hand. Happy fake 4th wedding anniversary, Jacob. My hands shook as I reached for the second box. What I found inside made my breath catch in my throat. What is this? I gasped. This is, Peter's voice faltered, unable to finish. I couldn't find words either. Inside the second box was a sealed bag containing mangled fragments of blood and tissue. Gasps and horrified screams erupted from the nurses nearby. That's a baby's remains, one whispered in shock. My hands shook as I pulled out the accompanying report. It was a medical document, confirmation of a miscarriage, the result of trauma during a kidnapping. My head snapped toward Peter, my voice barely audible. Lily was kidnapped. His face drained of color. Trembling, he pointed to the date stamped on the report. The date, Jacob. Look at it. My heart dropped. It was the exact day Nadine gave birth, the same day Lily had called me over and over 99 times. That must have been when it happened. My knees weakened, the ground tilting beneath me. I gripped the desk for balance, my throat unbearably dry. I need to sit down, I muttered, collapsing into a chair. 2 boxes had already shattered my world. I didn't know if I had the strength to face the third. What's happening here? Peter whispered, as stunned as I was. I glanced at Nadine. Unlike us, she didn't look confused, only guilty. Nadine, I growled. Do you know something about this? Her denial came too fast.
No.
Of course not. She added a sob, voice trembling. I'm just heartbroken seeing this. Lily lost her baby, and we never even knew. Her words stabbed me like knives. I was supposed to protect Lily. I was the one who tied her to me with a fake marriage who got her pregnant. And when she needed me most, I abandoned her, tormented her. My rage burned hotter when the mailman reached for the last box.
Hey.
I snapped. Leave it. I'm sorry, sir, he said firmly. I was paid to make sure you opened all 3. He lifted the lid, revealing a flash drive. Then, to my surprise, he produced a portable projector and plugged it in. The hospital walls lit up with the footage. It was Lily, trapped in a filthy prison cell. Suddenly, a gang of women stormed in. One of them sneered, her voice crystal clear through the speakers. Nadine sends her regards. She said to make sure you die in here. I froze. My horrified eyes darted to Nadine, who immediately squirmed under the weight of the stairs. Even Peter shifted away from her. On screen, the women assaulted Lily mercilessly. She bled, begged, but they didn't stop until prison guards burst in and dragged the attackers away. The whispers among the hospital staff swelled around us. Oh my God, it's her, the woman who was in a coma. She lost her womb, didn't she? That must have been after the miscarriage. How could someone do this to another woman? And to think I once admired her. She's a monster. The words pounded in my head like drums. Lily lost her womb? I muttered, barely able to breathe. Nadine stammered, Jacob, it wasn't supposed to go that far, it was just a joke. My hand moved before I realized. The slap echoed through the hall. Gasps filled the room. Nadine stared at me, clutching her face, tears spilling. Jacob. Don't ever say my name again, I hissed. She turned desperately to Peter. Help me. But Peter stepped back, his expression hard. Let's go finally. She deserves more than an apology. The drive was silent. Both of us were drowning in guilt, words unnecessary. This is on me, Peter murmured at last. I should have protected her. I shook my head.
No.
I should never have deceived her. I could have told her I didn't want to marry her, but I was a coward. And now look at the cost. As we neared the neighborhood, flashing lights filled the road. Fire trucks, ambulances, and crowds lined the street. My heart lurched. I slammed the brakes, jumped out with Peter, and hurried toward an official. What happened? I demanded. A fire, he said grimly. It's been extinguished, but we recovered a badly burned body. No, my pulse raced. Where? We pushed past the red tape. My chest caved in when I saw what building had been destroyed. It was our mansion. Lily, I screamed, stumbling forward. Lily, where are you? Peter stood frozen, horror etched into his face. He whispered over and over. I should have protected you. I deserve this. Firefighters held me back as they brought out the charred body. Draped across it was a silver necklace, the one I had given Lily 5 years ago. The one she swore she would never take off. My world collapsed. I dropped to the ground, gasping for breath. No, this can't be it.
Lily.
Come back to me, please. I sobbed, the realization tearing me apart. Lily's POV. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. We're preparing to land in Washington, D.C. Please fasten your seatbelts and switch your devices to airplane mode. Thank you. I leaned back against the seat with a long breath, watching the clouds give way to the city below. For the first time in 15 years, I was away from the chaos of New York and away from them. The relief was intoxicating. 20 minutes later, we landed. I grabbed my bag and headed toward arrivals, my thoughts spinning. By now, Jacob and Peter would have stumbled upon the charred body I'd planted in the mansion. They would believe I was gone. I hadn't set that fire out of blind revenge. It was strategy. I wanted them to mourn me, to suffer with guilt, before realizing I was still alive. Alive and coming for them. Lillian, that voice. I turned and froze. My mother stood a few feet away. She looked stunning, older but graceful, her beauty untouched by the years. I ran straight into her arms. Her scent, her warmth, her kiss on my hair. It undid me. Tears spilled as she whispered, "Hush, sweetheart. You're safe now. You're home." The words only made me cry harder. I'd abandoned this warmth for 15 long years. I'd left my family, wasted my youth, endured betrayal, loss, and cruelty. I cried for the children I'd never hold again, for the womb I'd lost, for the years I could never reclaim. When I finally pulled back, I saw tears glistening in her eyes too. She cupped my cheeks and sobbed softly. "My baby, what did they do to you?" I shook my head. "It doesn't matter, Mom. I'm just glad to be back." Because I was. This was the last time I would cry over them. From now on, My tears would dry, and my enemies would bleed instead. Yes, darling. Let's go home, she smiled. Where's Dad? I asked. He had a meeting with investors today. We'll see him later, she said as the chauffeur opened the limousine door. If only you'd been home earlier, she added gently. Your father could have retired and passed the family business to you by now. I touched her hand. I'm here now. If he'll let me, I'll take over. Her smile widened. I'm sure he'll agree, but you must rest first. You look exhausted. The doctor's warning flashed through my mind. If you don't rest, you'll die. For the sake of my revenge, I needed to live. I nodded. All right, Mom. I'll rest a few days. The car stopped. I stepped out and gazed at the sprawling castle I'd once called home. The fountain, the marble statues, the rose garden, my father's gifts to me. Memories flooded in, bittersweet but comforting. I'm so glad you're back, my mom whispered. Me too, I smiled. Then her phone rang. At first, I thought it was mine, until I remembered tossing it in the airport trash. She answered, and I watched her face pale. What is it, Mom? Her voice cracked. It's your father. He's had a heart attack. The car pulled up outside a private hospital owned by my family. My mother practically dragged me out, her grip tight with worry. We hurried down the hall until we reached a private suite. Inside, my father was sitting upright on the bed, smiling faintly at the doctor. Lucas Hart, are you trying to kill me with worry? My mother snapped. Even in a hospital gown, my father still radiated strength. Those streaks of gray betrayed the years he carried. He scowled at the doctor. I told you not to call my wife. The doctor stood his ground. I'm sorry, Mr. Hart, but this is your 5th heart attack in 3 months. She needed to know. My eyes widened, echoing my mother's sharp, "Know what?" My father's gaze landed on me. His brown eyes hardened. So, the prodigal daughter returns. Careful with that glare, Lucas, my mother muttered. You'll wrinkle faster. I wrinkled 20 years in the 15 she abandoned me, he barked, pointing at me. Sir, please don't raise your voice, your blood pressure. The doctor tried to intervene. Quiet, my father hissed at him. I stepped closer, ignoring his icy stare. Then, without hesitation, I threw my arms around him. Get off me, you ungrateful child, he growled, but I held tighter. Cora, get your daughter off. She's your daughter too, my mother countered firmly. Not after she vanished for 15 years. I'm sorry, Daddy, I whispered. His chest rose and fell sharply before his arms finally wrapped around me. His voice cracked when he murmured, I'm just glad you're safe. For a moment, I was that little girl again, lifted on his shoulders to see the sky. Can you see it now, baby?
He used to ask.
Yes, Daddy. It's beautiful. And he'd always reply, not as beautiful as you. I blinked away tears. I missed you, Daddy. I missed you too, Lily, he admitted at last, his lips curving into a faint smile.
See?
You were happy to see me? I teased. Don't push it, he muttered, but the grumble was fond. The doctor cleared his throat. As touching as this is, Mrs. Hart deserves to know her husband's condition. Out with it, my mother demanded, folding her arms. The doctor glanced nervously at my father, who glared daggers at him. I stepped in. Whatever he threatened, ignore it. My mom's scarier. The doctor exhaled. Mr. Hart's health is deteriorating. Stress is driving his blood pressure up. The constant workload, managing more than 15 companies worldwide, is breaking his body down. He should already be retired. In other words, he wants me put out to pasture, my father muttered. That's not all, the doctor added carefully. He is under intense pressure from a rival corporation. My mother's brows knitted together. Lucas, what rival? I shot him a worried look. Dad, what company? He shifted against the pillows, sighing like a man cornered. Gray Enterprises. I froze. Nadine's family? His nod was grim. What did they do? I pressed. His jaw tightened. 2 years ago, we began developing revolutionary auto tech, an electric engine capable of self-diagnosis and self-repair. 10 years ahead of its time. My breath caught. That was monumental. They came pretending they wanted to partner with us. We showed them a prototype, even some blueprints. 6 months later, they filed a patent. Our patent. Just altered enough to pass. Then they sued us for theft. But you have evidence, I said sharply. I do. Development logs, prototypes, everything. But the judge presiding over the case? Their elder brother. Every time we submit proof, he dismisses it. Meanwhile, The Greys are already in mass production. I clench my fists, then follow the doctor's advice stat.
Rest.
Leave Grey Enterprises to me. I'll bring them down. He studied me, worry flickering in his eyes. Are you sure, baby? Your mother says you need rest yourself. Yes, but... A deep voice cut me off from behind. I'll help. I turned, my body going rigid when I saw who it was. That face, that's you. You're the one who was obsessed with Nadine back in college. You stalked her. I blurted out. The last person I expected to see standing outside my father's hospital room was him. The only time I'd seen him in recent years was through Nadine's phone, when she'd cried to me. He won't stop following me, Lily. He's obsessed with me. Well, that's quite a story Nadine must have told you, the man replied with a sly smile. He looked even sharper now than he had back then, dressed in a black tuxedo that only emphasized his striking features. What are you doing here? This is a private hospital. I snapped, furious with myself for even noticing how attractive he was. You two know each other? My parents asked, looking uneasy. Yes, I said, turning to them. Why is he here? Do you know him? My parents exchanged loaded glances. Remember the arranged marriage we mentioned? My mother began cautiously. I raised a brow. Yeah, and I already told you I'll go through with it. So? She nodded. Right, but the man you meant to marry isn't supposed to see me until the wedding day. I don't want to know who he is. I cut her off. But I'm right here, the stranger said calmly. I'm your fiancé. I froze, eyes darting to my parents in disbelief. What have you done? I hissed. Please calm down, sweetheart. My mother soothed. My father frowned. What's the problem, princess? I glared so hard it made my temples throb. You set me up with him? He's a stalker. My father shook his head. Whatever you've heard about Damon, it isn't true. He's an outstanding man who has supported me in business for years. I don't care. I want revenge on Nadine and her family, but I'm not doing it alongside someone obsessed with her. I spat. Lily, the man interjected smoothly, stepping closer. Give me a few minutes to explain. His cologne hit me, irritating me with how easily it stirred my senses. I quickly stepped back. Stay away. Princess, at least hear him out, my mother urged. If you still don't want this afterward, we'll cancel everything. My father nodded. It'll be your choice. We promise. I exhaled hard, their sincerity wearing me down.
Fine.
A few minutes. I agreed reluctantly. I followed him into the hallway, deliberately keeping my distance. It's good to finally meet you properly, Lily Hart. I'm Damon Sterling, your father's business partner. I suggested the marriage after I discovered what Nadine and Jacob had done, he said. The name hit me like a punch. Damon Sterling, one of the country's most powerful and mysterious billionaires. A man whose identity had been kept hidden for years. This must be another one of Nadine's games, I sneered. If she sent you, tell her I'm not playing. His jaw tightened. Do you really think anyone sent me? I arched a brow. Weren't you her creepy admirer in college?
Damon sighed.
We were dating, or at least I thought we were, until I caught her cheating on me with half the campus. When I confronted her, she turned the story around, leaked indecent photos of me, and painted me as a stalker. I lost my scholarship, my reputation, everything. So, I disappeared. I blinked, stunned. She did that to you? She did worse, he said, handing me a tablet. I scrolled through the evidence, images and videos that made my stomach churn. Why didn't you use this to defend yourself? I asked quietly. He looked away, his voice bitter. Once someone cries assault, no one listens to facts. I let out a humorless laugh. I can't even say I'm surprised. She tried to kill me over Jacob, remember? Damon nodded.
Exactly.
And now her family is destroying her father's health and company. That's why I suggested our marriage. Together, we'll be unstoppable. We don't need love, just strategy. I narrowed my eyes. And what do you get out of this? His smirk was the kind that made knees buckle. Just the satisfaction of Nadine watching me succeed with you by my side. But more than that, I want to destroy her the way she destroyed me. The thought of Nadine and Jacob choking on their envy as I thrived, beside Damon Sterling, no less, was enough to make my lips curve. It wasn't romance. It was war. I inhaled deeply, then smiled. Screw it. I'm in. Let's burn everything to the ground. That face, that's you. You're the one who was obsessed with Nadine back in college. You stalked her. I blurted out. The last person I expected to see standing outside my father's hospital room was him. The only time I'd seen him in recent years was through Nadine's phone, when she'd cried to me. "He won't stop following me, Lily. He's obsessed with me." "Well, that's quite a story Nadine must have told you," the man replied with a sly smile. He looked even sharper now than he had back then, dressed in a black tuxedo that only emphasized his striking features. "What are you doing here? This is a private hospital." I snapped, furious with myself for even noticing how attractive he was. "You two know each other?" my parents asked, looking uneasy. "Yes," I said, turning to them. "Why is he here? Do you know him?" My parents exchanged loaded glances. "Remember the arranged marriage we mentioned?" My mother began cautiously. I raised a brow. "Yeah, and I already told you I'll go through with it." "So?" She nodded. "Right, but the man you're meant to marry isn't supposed to see me until the wedding day. I don't want to know who he is." I cut her off. "But I'm right here," the stranger said calmly. "I'm your fiancé." I froze, eyes darting to my parents in disbelief. "What have you done?" I hissed. "Please calm down, sweetheart," my mother soothed. My father frowned. "What's the problem, princess?" I glared so hard it made my temples throb. "You set me up with him? He's a stalker." My father shook his head. "Whatever you've heard about Damon, it isn't true. He's an outstanding man who has supported me in business for years. I don't care. I want revenge on Nadine and her family, but I'm not doing it alongside someone obsessed with her." I spat. "Lily," the man interjected smoothly, stepping closer. "Give me a few minutes to explain." His cologne hit me, irritating me with how easily it stirred my senses. I quickly stepped back. "Stay away." "Princess, at least hear him out," my mother urged. "If you still don't want this afterward, we'll cancel everything." My father nodded. "It'll be your choice. We promise." I exhaled hard, their sincerity wearing me down.
Fine.
"A few minutes," I agreed reluctantly. I followed him into the hallway, deliberately keeping my distance. "It's good to finally meet you properly, Lily Hart. I'm Damon Sterling, your father's business partner." I suggested the marriage after I discovered what Nadine and Jacob had done, he said. The name hit me like a punch. Damon Sterling, one of the country's most powerful and mysterious billionaires. A man whose identity had been kept hidden for years. "This must be another one of Nadine's games," I sneered. "If she sent you, tell her I'm not playing." His jaw tightened. "Do you really think anyone sent me?" I arched a brow. "Weren't you her creepy admirer in college?" Damon sighed. "We were dating, or at least I thought we were, until I caught her cheating on me with half the campus. When I confronted her, she turned the story around, leaked indecent photos of me, and painted me as a stalker. I lost my scholarship, my reputation, everything. So I disappeared." I blinked, stunned. "She did that to you?" "She did worse," he said, handing me a tablet. I scrolled through the evidence, images and videos that made my stomach churn. "Why didn't you use this to defend yourself?" I asked quietly. He looked away, his voice bitter. "Once someone cries assault, no one listens to facts." I let out a humorless laugh. "I can't even say I'm surprised. She tried to kill me over Jacob, remember?" Damon nodded.
Exactly.
"And now her family is destroying your father's health and company. That's why I suggested our marriage. Together, we'll be unstoppable. We don't need love, just strategy." I narrowed my eyes. "And what do you get out of this?" His smirk was the kind that made knees buckle. "Just the satisfaction of Nadine watching me succeed with you by my side. But more than that, I want to destroy her the way she destroyed me." The thought of Nadine and Jacob choking on their envy as I thrived, beside Damon Sterling, no less, was enough to make my lips curve. It wasn't romance. It was war. I inhaled deeply, then smiled. "Screw it. I'm in. Let's burn everything to the ground." Several days had passed since they recovered the charred body from the fire. The doctors promised to run an autopsy to confirm whether or not it was Lily. I had seen her necklace. She was the only one in that house. Still, I prayed, desperately, that it wasn't her. "That's enough," Nadine snapped, yanking the glass from my hand. I glared at her. "After the fire, we'd been forced into a new house, and the only reason she was still around was because of my child. You should be seen, not heard," I growled. "I told you I never meant to hurt Lily. It was just—" "Say it's a joke one more time, Nadine," Peter cut her off, his voice sharp, his steps unsteady as he stumbled into the room. Peter had been spiraling ever since the body was pulled from the flames. He was drowning himself in liquor. Worse than he had after our parents died, when he'd been nothing but a kid. Back then, rehab had saved him. This time, I wasn't sure anything could. How did I not see the signs? How did I let Nadine destroy Lily? Not that I was any better. I'd been just as cruel. You both need to keep a clear head, Nadine said, her voice brittle. Lily is gone, and she's not dead. Peter and I shouted at the same time. Nadine shrieked, startling the baby, who wailed immediately. When this is over, Nadine, I'm divorcing you. And quiet that child down, I snapped. Her eyes burned with fury.
No, Jacob.
We are not divorcing. You begged me to marry you, you crawled outside my gate for days. You won't humiliate me like this. You should have thought of that before you laid a hand on Lily, Peter shot back. Oh, spare me your self-righteous act. Nadine spat. Both of you are just as guilty. You betrayed her first. If you hadn't treated her like garbage, maybe I wouldn't have either. I only learned from the best.
From you.
Neither of you is getting rid of me that easily. She grabbed Angel and stormed upstairs. Her words hit like a punch to the gut. She's right, I muttered. Peter didn't respond. He just lifted the bottle and drank straight from it. That's enough, I said, reaching to take it away. He shoved me back. What? Now you're policing me. Where was this energy when I wanted to hit Lily? You didn't stop me then, but now you're lecturing me about drinking? Don't dump your guilt on me, I snapped. You did what you did. We're both to blame. Yeah? At least I didn't fake a marriage with her for 4 years. Peter shot back. Rage exploded in me. My fist flew, landing square on his jaw. His bloodshot eyes widened before he lunged at me, landing a blow to my ribs. Soon, we were brawling, fists, kicks, years of bitterness spilling out, until the doorbell rang. Get it together, both of you, Nadine hissed from the stairs. You don't get to tell us anything, I snarled. She laughed, low and cruel. I don't have to. You're doing a fine job destroying yourselves. If Jacob doesn't divorce you, I will kill you, Peter said coldly. I left them glaring daggers at each other and answered the door. The chief inspector stood there. Come in, I muttered, slurring slightly. He followed me into the mess of the sitting room. Apologies for the state of things, I said. He waved it off. No problem. Peter leaned forward. Any news on Lily's kidnappers? The inspector nodded. We caught one today. The other 3 are still at large, but we should have more information soon. Nadine's face blanched, terror flashing in her eyes. I narrowed mine at her. You know anything about this kidnapping, Nadine?
She gasped. What? No.
Of course not. I stepped closer, fury burning through me. For your sake, I hope that's true. Because if I find out otherwise, you'll beg for death. The officer chuckled awkwardly. Let's keep calm. She's your wife, the gray heiress. Hardly seems likely. The phone rang, cutting through the tension. I grabbed the receiver. Reynolds' residence. It was the doctor. My hand tightened on the phone. My eyes locked with Peter's. What is it? He asked, dread in his voice. The autopsy, I said, my throat dry. Peter's face crumpled. And I exhaled shakily. It's not Lily. She's alive. After my talk with Damon in the hallway, we returned to my parents. Their expectant gazes locked onto me.
Well?
Are you going to tell us? Or let us sit here in suspense? My father grumbled. I laughed softly. Dad, can't you let me enjoy the drama for 2 minutes? 2 minutes have passed, he replied flatly. Now tell me, are you marrying him or not? I glanced at Damon. He gave a small nod. Exhaling, I nodded back.
Yes.
The arranged marriage works for me. Both of my parents lit up with joy. I knew it, my father said proudly. We chose well with Damon. I smiled faintly. Good. But Dad, now it's time. Step down and let me take over, especially with everything going on with Gray Enterprises. His expression softened, almost with relief. I've waited years to hear you say that, Princess. I've been carrying this weight for so long, just waiting for you to return. Tears burned at the corners of my eyes. I'm here now, Daddy. You can rest. I'll handle it. Then it's settled, he said firmly. I'll call a board meeting and introduce you to everyone. They'll support you, however you need. And don't forget, we still need to talk about your wedding dress, my mother chimed in. I chuckled. Yes, Mom. But right now, the patent case is the priority. Damon and I need to strategize. You just got back, sweetheart. Rest first, my mom insisted. She's right, Damon agreed. Go home with them. I'll come by later tonight when you've had time to breathe. His words pulled a smile from me. It felt strange, nice even, to have someone genuinely concerned for me. With Peter and Jacob, there had only been criticism, and whenever tenderness appeared, Nadine swooped in to shatter it. All right, I conceded. Damon flashed a grin, bowed politely to my parents, and strode away. He's quite the charmer, isn't he? My mother teased, wiggling her brows. I made a face.
Ew, Mom. Gross.
She laughed.
What?
I'm just saying, he's handsome. While your husband is right there? I countered. My father smirked. Her husband knows she adores him. Mom leaned in and kissed him, and I rolled my eyes. Some things never changed. 15 years later, and they were still madly in love. A part of me envied that. Get a room already, I groaned. The doctor soon arrived to discharge my father, rattling off his strict instructions. Not long after, we were back home. My father hugged me tightly again. I'm glad you're back, princess. But I'm still furious you wouldn't let me deal with those boys myself, he muttered. The night I called home, sobbing, I told my mother everything. She had been livid. My father had wanted blood, but I needed patience. No one's escaping, Daddy, I said with a smirk. I'll destroy them one by one. He laughed heartily. That's my girl. My mother clapped her hands, summoning the maids. Prepare a feast to celebrate our daughter's return. How about inviting the board members too? My father suggested. Not tonight, my mom said firmly. Tonight is family. Tomorrow is business. That evening, I soaked in a warm bath, surrounded by the vanilla-scented bubbles I'd always loved. The maids tended to me, dressing me carefully. By the time I looked in the mirror, every bruise had faded. Staring back was a woman scarred by the past, but still unbroken. My mother knocked softly and stepped in. Her eyes watered. You look beautiful, darling. Thank you, Mom, I said, smiling. Dinner was full of laughter and stories of the years I had missed. For the first time in so long, I felt at peace. Later, my parents retreated to their room, giggling like teenagers. I wandered into the rose garden. The night air was cool, fragrant with red roses. My father had once cleared out every white rose when he discovered my allergy, then planted this garden for me. I had been so loved. Maybe that was why I trusted Jacob and Peter so blindly. Why Nadine once had felt like the sister I never had. A penny for your thoughts, milady. The deep voice behind me startled me. I spun too quickly, losing my footing. My arms flailed as I braced for the fall, but instead, strong arms caught me. The scent of musky vanilla filled my senses. Careful now, Damon murmured, his smooth voice teasing. Don't tell me you're already falling for me. I opened my eyes and met the warm brown gaze of Damon Sterling. You smell amazing. The words slipped out before I could stop them, and heat rushed to my cheeks. I scrambled out of his arms as if burned. Well, thank you, Damon replied with a teasing smirk. Mortified, I covered my face with my hands. I didn't mean to say that out loud. He steadied me, voice calm. Are you sure you're all right? I quickly stepped back. I'm fine. Just lost my balance, that's all. He grinned. Looked more like you were falling for me. I couldn't help but chuckle. Smooth talker, aren't you? He shrugged playfully. I guess I have my moments when I feel like turning on the charm. Our eyes lingered on each other a little too long before I glanced away, still flustered. What are you even doing here at this hour? I asked. I came to see you, princess. Something in the way he said princess made my pulse quicken. I frowned at myself. Great, as if I needed another distraction right now. Me? I raised an eyebrow. Yes, he said matter-of-factly. We were supposed to go over strategy, remember? Oh, I blurted, finally recalling.
Right.
Should we head inside to talk? He shook his head and glanced around the rose garden. This spot is perfect. Let's just sit over there. We walked over to the wooden swing my father had added years ago. As soon as we sat, the swing shifted, and I bumped against his chest. Sorry, maybe we really should go inside, I muttered, embarrassed. He shook his head with a calm smile. It's fine. Relax, Lily. You're too tense. Remember, we're supposed to be engaged. We have to make it believable. I swallowed hard and nodded. You're right. I'll try. Then, almost like a magician, He revealed a laptop I hadn't even noticed him carrying earlier. Focus, Lily, I scolded myself, remembering how effortlessly he'd caught me in his arms just moments ago. I dug up some dirt on Judge Harris, Damon said, opening a file. On screen, a video played, Harris tied up in a compromising position, begging while a woman in lingerie spanked him. Gross. I groaned, covering my eyes. Damon chuckled. There's more. The man has unusual tastes. The next clip made my stomach churn. Stop. I can't. This is revolting. He's supposed to be a judge. I can't unsee this. Laughing, Damon shut the laptop. Turns out, Harris enjoys playing the submissive role. And remember, he's built his career on being holier than thou. He's married, conservative, and loudly anti-LGBTQ. I frowned, then slowly smiled. So, if this comes out, he loses everything. His reputation, his credibility, his alliances. We corner him with this, and he'll have no choice but to back down. Exactly. Damon nodded, clearly pleased. I grinned. That's genius. You've done brilliantly. He straightened, smirk tugging at his lips. And for doing brilliantly, don't I deserve a little reward? My stomach flipped as he stepped closer. Instinctively, I backed away, only for his arms to slide firmly around my waist, pulling me against him. Too close. Way too close. My entire body was on high alert, every sense overwhelmed. That familiar vanilla scent clung to him. Of course it had to be my favorite. But I don't want anything from your father, he murmured, gaze fixed on mine. What I want is from you. His thumbs traced slow circles at my waist, and my breath hitched. What is it you want? I whispered. He leaned in so close our lips nearly touched. My heart stopped, waiting, bracing. Then his voice brushed against me. A drink. I blinked, stunned. I'm sorry, what? I need a drink, Damon muttered for the third time. This talking is making me parched. I snorted. Ask the maids. They'll sort you out. He tried to protest, but I brushed him off. Good night, Mr. Sterling. See you tomorrow. I slipped into my bedroom, furious with myself and my ridiculous fluttering heart. Once alone, I let out a long, frustrated breath. It had been so long since any man paid me real attention that my hormones were staging a revolt. Stupid Damon. Stupid vanilla perfume. I muttered, then scrolled through my phone to calm down. A post popped up that made my stomach drop. A photo of me, tagged by Jacob and Peter, labeled missing. They were offering a reward for any information. The hypocrisy stung. Months earlier, Jacob had refused to post our anniversary pictures, insisting on privacy. Now he plastered my face across social media to find me. Mom knocked and came in, sitting beside me. How are you, princess? She asked. Tired, I admitted. Rest, darling. It'll all fall into place, she said, kissing my brow before leaving me to sleep again. Morning smelled like waffles. I dressed quickly. Today my father would introduce me to the board, and Damon and I had plans to press the judge. My cheeks heated at the memory of last night, but I shoved the distraction aside. I had a job to do. At breakfast, my parents fussed over me like only parents could. My father's pride was obvious when he announced, later at the office, that he would step down and hand the company to me. Nerves rose like tidewater in my chest. Could I really do this? Never doubt yourself, he said, steady and blunt. This company needs you. I squared my shoulders and walked into the building with him. My white blazer and red trousers felt like armor. My stilettos clicked confidently down the marble. The company towered above me, familiar but grander than my memory. On the top floor, the boardroom fell silent when we entered. Whispers swirled, skepticism, curiosity, thinly veiled challenge. My father took his seat and gestured to me. Board members, I'm retiring. I'm leaving this company to my daughter, Lillian Hart. The room erupted. Questions, protests, and doubts flew at once. One older director scoffed openly. I let the chatter rise and then cut through it. I stood, palms flat on the table, and said, loud and clear, silence. Their breaths stilled. I smiled without warmth. This is my father's company. I'm the new CEO, and I will resolve the patent case. I will get our product to market. Murmurs rippled through the room until the same scoffer challenged me. I met him, without flinching. You're right to be skeptical, I said. So, let's make it interesting. If I close the patent case by the end of the day, you hand over your shares and resign. If I fail, I'll step down and apologize. He blinked, then laughed too loud and accepted, eager to see me fail. We shook on it. As their smirks settled into wary looks, I felt something cold and fierce slide into place inside me. They wanted spectacle. I would give them results. The boardroom felt electric as I shook hands with the man who thought he'd just sealed some advantage. He wanted the deal in writing, predictable, entitled. The secretary typed the agreement, printed it, we both signed, and he left with a smugness that reeked of victory. Once the room emptied, it was just my father and me. He looked at the signed paper and then at me, bewildered and amused. "Princess, what the hell did you do?" he demanded. I smiled. "Relax, Daddy. Doctor's orders, no stress." He grimaced at that but couldn't hide his curiosity. Before he could explode, Damon slipped through the door like he owned the place. "Hello, Lucas." "Lovely day, Lily," Damon said with ingratiating calm. I kissed my father on the forehead and walked out, dragging Damon with me. In the elevator, he teased, "You've got me all to yourself. Slow down." I shot him a look. "Stop with the innuendos. We have work." He only laughed as I handed him the copy of the document I'd just signed. He chuckled. "First day, and you're already running circles around them." "Good. The man deserved it," I said. He tried to humiliate me because I'm new here. "Perfect. Now, Judge Harris," Damon said, eyes alight. We pulled up outside the courthouse. The receptionist scoffed at us until Damon dropped a small, heavy hint on her desk. "Show this to Judge Harris. Tell him there's more." She left, uneasy, and returned a moment later. "He'll see you." Upstairs, Judge Harris was a portrait of bluster until we shut him down. He frothed, sputtered threats, tried to bluster his way out. I interrupted. "Enough," I snapped. "I'm tired of powerful men thinking they're untouchable." I slid a flash drive across his desk and met his gaze. "You step down from the patent case. If you don't, everything on that drive goes public, every dirty, humiliating secret." His face lost color. Fingers flying, he typed like a man possessed. "Done," he stammered, voice small. "Case dismissed. Hart Corporation may proceed. Gray Enterprise shipments will be frozen pending investigation." My phone buzzed. A text from my father, short and stunned. "How did you do it?" "The case is dismissed." I smiled, tapped back. "Tell them Hart's daughter stopped by, with her fiancé." We left the courthouse with the air of people who'd shifted the balance. Damon's grin was fond as he said, "You went off on him." I loved it. "You liked that?" I asked, savoring it. "Me too." He suggested dinner. Wine, music, roses. I teased, "I'll check my calendar, Mr. Sterling." He laughed as he drove me back. "Don't leave a man hanging," he teased as I climbed out. Back at the company, the energy had changed. Whispers, nods, eyes that suddenly saw me differently. The boardroom was full. My father sat at the head. The man I'd publicly humiliated that morning shuffled in, defeated. "Get out," I told him simply, sliding the signed copy across the table. He tried to bargain. I set the terms on the table and smiled coolly. "You insisted on a written deal," I said. "Signed is signed." He left with his shoulders slumped. Around me, faces that had doubted now watched with something like respect. Victory tasted sweet, and it left me hungry for more. After the boardroom victory, I couldn't resist doing a little celebratory dance with my dad in the office. "How on earth did you pull that off?" he asked, beaming. I shrugged. "I had a little help from Damon. He orchestrated most of it." Dad nodded approvingly. "I'm glad you have him by your side." Later, at home, he recounted the day's events to Mom, praising me at every turn. "I'm leaving the company to her, and she's handled it brilliantly," he said. "Daddy, don't give me too much credit," I laughed. Mom smiled warmly. "It's your birthright, Lily. Let's celebrate with a proper meal." Just then, my phone rang. I excused myself, answering the unknown number. "Hello, who's this?" "Princess," came Damon's smooth voice. "You left me hanging. What time should I pick you up?" Relief and a flutter of excitement spread through me. "How did you get my number?" "I don't remember giving it to you." He chuckled. "There are a lot of things you don't remember, Princess. Now, about our date." I sighed and grinned.
Fine.
"You earned it today, so dinner it is." "I'll be there at 7, he said. I ended the call and turned, only to nearly faint. Mom and Dad were standing behind me, grinning mischievously.
Mom, Dad.
"You scared me." I groaned. We just heard the word date and got excited. Mom said, laughing. It's just dinner with Damon, I muttered. Oh, Damon. The man you're engaged to, Dad said with mock severity. It's an arranged marriage, Dad. I reminded him. Undeterred, they followed me upstairs and flung open my closet. We've dreamed of this day for years, Mom said. For our little girl's first date, Dad added. And I'd warn him, bring her back before 9, or I hunt him down. I watched their excitement and felt a pang of guilt. They'd missed so many milestones. Prom, college graduations, even the chance to have grandchildren. Tears pricked my eyes, and I tried to hide them. Oh, honey, Mom whispered, noticing me. We're sorry if we're overwhelming. I shook my head. No, it's not that. It's just, I've deprived you of so much, and now the one thing I can't give is a grandchild. The trauma took that from me. I trailed off, tears running freely. Mom wrapped me in her arms, Dad joining in, both soothing me with gentle touches and whispered words. You're more than enough, baby. We love you, they said. I stayed with them until my heart calmed, then wiped my tears and sat up. All right, glam me up for this date. Giggling, they brought out the outfit, styled my hair, and applied makeup. By the time I descended the stairs, Damon was waiting outside with my father. You're perfect, Mom whispered, smiling. I nodded, blushing as Damon's eyes followed me. You look stunning, he said, handing me a single rose. Thank you, I grinned. Dad stepped forward, mock serious. Don't touch a single hair on her head. Bring her back before midnight. We'll be fine, Dad. I laughed. Damon led me to his car, eyes never leaving mine. We drove to a rooftop restaurant, and the view took my breath away. Jacob had never done anything like this during our 4 years together. All his excuses for missing moments with me were lies to cover his betrayal with Nadine. This is beautiful, I murmured. Not as beautiful as you, Damon whispered. Dinner passed in near silence, his gaze fixed on me. Finally, music began, and he held out his hand. Dance with me, princess, he invited. I took it, letting him pull me close. His hands settled firmly around my waist, and I felt heat rise to my cheeks. Am I not getting a reward for my performance today? He asked with a small grin. This date isn't reward enough, I teased. Nope. I want something else. Groaning, I asked. What? Water?
Wine?
A kiss. He cut in, eyes locked on mine. My breath caught. What? I want to kiss you, princess. May I? He leaned closer, lips mere inches from mine, and I froze, heart pounding. Then panic hit, and the words escaped before I could stop them. I can't have children. Damon's POV. What? I asked, blinking in disbelief. I was too stunned to react, staring at Lily as her words echoed in my mind like a ticking time bomb. Seriously? Right when I was about to kiss you? I groaned. She pulled away, hiding her face behind her hair. I just thought you should know, she said quietly. I sighed and reached for her, holding her waist gently. She buried her face in my chest, and I inhaled deeply, savoring the sweet scent of her hair. Princess, why do you have to ruin the mood like that? I teased softly. She sighed again, stepping back. I panicked, she admitted. I nodded. That's understandable, Lily. But you need to understand something. I'm not Jacob. I know, but it doesn't make it easier. I loved someone who had no regard for me. I don't want that to happen again, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. I frowned. But we aren't. I stopped mid-sentence, noticing the way she avoided my gaze. Suddenly, everything clicked. Ever since I met her, I'd felt strange, fluttering butterflies, inexplicable excitement, even a little annoyance that didn't make sense. But seeing her now, hiding, hesitant, it was clear we both felt it. Lily, I have a confession, I began. Her brow furrowed in confusion. What confession? I know about the miscarriage and the doctor's diagnosis. But Lily, it's a lie. She gasped. What do you mean? What are you saying? You can give birth, Lily. The trauma should have prevented it, but it didn't. You can. Then why would the doctor lie to me? This makes no sense, she whispered, shaking. I nodded, keeping my voice calm. Please, just listen. Also, why did you look into me and not tell me?
I was trying to be honest, she snapped.
I didn't want to spook you, princess. I wanted to help you get justice against them, especially after everything you've suffered. I explained. Then why lie? She pressed. Nadine threatened his daughter. She said if he didn't lie to you, she'd kill her, I revealed. Lily's eyes widened in horror. But why? Why would she do that? Because she wanted to see you completely broken. destroyed. She wanted nothing more than to crush you so completely you couldn't rise again. I shook my head in disgust, thinking of Nadine's cruelty. Lily's eyes hardened. I want to burn that bitch to the ground. I grinned. We will. I'm gathering evidence against her, and when it's ready, it'll be yours to wield. Her eyes sparkled as she toyed with the thought. You always know exactly what I need, she said softly. I smirked. Now, may I get that kiss? She hesitated. I don't know, Damon. I just don't want to complicate things. I nodded. That's fine. No pressure. We spent the rest of the night enjoying dessert and conversation, laughter easing the tension. I drove her home before midnight. Good night, princess, I said with a warm smile. Sweet dreams, Mr. Sterling, she replied. Only dreams filled with you, my sweet princess, I whispered, watching her blush as she hurried inside. I chuckled softly and drove home, only to find my grandfather still awake. Grandpa, it's late. Why aren't you asleep? I asked. I was waiting for you, son. How was your date? When do I get to meet this girl? I sighed. She's not my girl, Grandpa. It's just an arrangement. He shrugged. Whatever. Kids these days. But you're glowing. Glowing? I frowned. I'm just happy. He laughed knowingly. Son, I've seen war, heartbreak, and love. That's the face of a man in love. I chuckled nervously. Grandpa, you should get some rest. You probably don't realize it yet, boy, but you are in love. Soon, I'll meet the girl who made it happen. Good night, kiddo. I watched him leave, heart pounding. Could he be right? Could I really be falling for Lily? After everything Nadine did, after everything I'd lost, could I open my heart again? I didn't know, but something told me I already had. Jacob's POV. A few days had passed since the kidnappers were arrested. Each one confessed the same thing. They'd acted alone. They wanted money. The day after, every single cell housed a corpse, each man found hanging in a cell. It smelled wrong. I couldn't prove anything, though, and the police quietly closed the file. The rest of the world moved on. Peter and I did not. Guilt clung to us like a second skin. We kept looking for Lily, hired a private investigator, Royce, but it was as if she'd vanished into thin air. Now we were driving to Washington, D.C., with baby Angel strapped in behind us, like an offering wrapped in spit-up and silence. Nadine's grandfather was turning 80. Attendance was not optional. Don't forget to smile, Nadine chirped from the back seat. Her lipstick was bright, her voice too bright. I caught her in the rear view and forced my jaw to relax. Peter beside me looked hollow in a tailored suit. I'm not putting on a show for anyone, he muttered. Then fake it, Nadine shot back, sweetness sharpened into an edge. You're very good at pretending, she added, almost casually. And don't forget, you're my brother-in-law. Peter barked. When are you divorcing this bitch? Enough, I said, cutting him off. We drove the last miles in silence. My pulse kept time with the highway. The gray estate rose up like a fortress. White columns, trimmed hedges, fountains carved into angels and lions. Staff descended on us. Warm greetings, practiced smiles. We were ushered into a dining room vast enough for a sermon, crystal chandeliers glittering above a table that might as well have been an altar. Grandfather Elliot waited at the head, small and severe in velvet. Nadine dropped to her knees to hug him, cooing, "Happy birthday, grandfather." And Peter offered stiff greetings. Angel slept between us, all pink and fragile. "Let's eat," Elliot snapped, though his eyes lit when he took in his granddaughter. The meal began. Wine, laughter, the social choreography of a family that knew how to hide its knives. Then Judge Harris spoke, casual as a man announcing the weather. "You won't believe what happened to me a few days ago," he said between bites. Some girl stormed into my office with a man, her fiancé, apparently, and started making threats. Said she had compromising material. My fork hovered. Peter's drink stilled. Nadine blinked, then regained composure. "You messed us up that day," Nadine's father snapped at Harris. Harris shrugged. "Not my fault you stole the designs." "Why?" Someone lunged, then Elliot slammed the table, his patience gone. Harris continued, smirking. She was brazen. Pretty, too. Called herself Lily Hart. My head snapped up. What? The sound escaped me sharper than I meant. Peter's glass hit the table. Nadine froze, too still. Her jaw clenched like a trap. "Did she say what she wanted?" Peter asked, voice low. "Something about the patent case," Harris said. Doesn't matter. She had me cornered. Don't know where she got the videos, but I backed down. You're telling me Lily Hart walked into your office with a man? I asked, incredulous.
Yes.
Said he was her fiancé. Harris raised a brow. Then, to underscore his point, I dug into my wallet and shoved the only photo I kept across the table. Is this her? Harris squinted at the photo. That's her. Peter let out a strangled laugh. Nadine was silent, her face tightening like something about to snap. Well, she said at last, cool and dangerously calm. What a coincidence. She just happens to be in Washington. She's alive, Peter whispered, as if speaking it would summon her from the air. She's alive, I echoed, taste gone sour in my mouth. Elliot looked between us. What's this about? I mumbled, trying to steady my voice. Nothing. I picked at the food I no longer wanted. Later, on the patio where the night air cut clean, Peter and I spoke in low tones. I'm calling Royce, I said. If anyone can find her, it's him. Is that wise? Peter asked, doubt in his voice. She walked into Harris's office, I said. We don't know what she wants or who she's with. Don't you want answers? He shrugged, looking at the lights of the estate spread below us.
Yes.
I do. I pulled out my phone and dialed. Royce picked up on the second ring. Reynolds. Mr. Reynolds, his voice said. Long time. I need you in D.C. I need you to find Lily Hart. Lily's POV. After my date with Damon and everything he'd revealed about the doctor, I hadn't slept a wink. Early the next morning, I dressed quickly and asked my mom to take me to the hospital for a checkup. As we waited for the doctor to return with my test results, my mom held my hands gently. I'm so sorry for what Nadine did, Princess. You didn't deserve any of it, she said softly. When I got home from the date, I'd spilled every detail. My parents had missed so much of my life already. I told them everything Damon had said about my supposed inability to have children. Thanks, Mom. I'm so grateful to have you and Dad supporting me through all this. I smiled, squeezing her hands. The doctor entered, a warm smile on his face. Lily, despite everything you've gone through these past few weeks, I'm happy to say your body is fully recovered. Your womb is healthy and capable of carrying a baby, he announced. A wave of relief hit me. I hugged my mom tightly, tears of joy streaming down my cheeks. When I'd calmed down, we thanked the doctor and headed home. Back home, I spotted my dad drinking coffee with Damon. Mr. Sterling, I didn't realize you missed me so much after last night's date, I teased. Damon chuckled. Tempting thought, Princess, but I actually came with an invitation. He handed me a card. An art gallery today? I frowned. He nodded. As the new CEO and an investor in the Art Foundation, your presence is expected. I groaned. And you didn't tell me yesterday? Damon smirked. I was a little distracted. I don't even have anything to wear. My mom perked up. It's tonight. Damon can take you shopping. Dad agreed.
Yes.
Damon, don't you have a luxury boutique under your company? I do, Damon said. They've imported new dresses. There's a stunning Armani gown. I thought we should check it out, Princess. He extended his hand. I glanced at my parents, who were smiling innocently, clearly enjoying my predicament. I sighed and took his hand. At the boutique, Damon turned to me. Are you all right, Lily? After last night? I smiled, warmed by his concern. You're sweet, you know that? He leaned close, noses almost touching. Can I taste your sweetness? My cheeks flushed. I was about to pull away when he cupped my face and closed the distance. His lips were warm, minty, his tongue pressed against mine, claiming dominance. I moaned softly, letting him in. His hands threaded into my hair as he kissed me fiercely, pulling me closer across the car. When he finally released me, I gasped for air, already missing his warmth. Was that all the sweetness you needed? I asked shyly. Damon smirked. I might need more, in a more comfortable place. Are you always this flirty? Nope, he teased. Only with girls I like to see squirm. And you, Princess, are the only one on that list, my sweet fiancé. I groaned. You seem to be enjoying this way too much. He chuckled. Is it that obvious?
We stepped into the boutique.
All eyes turned to me. Damon led me to the salesgirl, hands on my waist. Where's the Armani dress? My beautiful fiancé needs it for an art gallery tonight, he said. The girl nodded and returned shortly with the gown. I stepped into the changing room and emerged moments later, holding the floor-length black velvet dress against my body. Diamond stones glimmered, the fabric clinging like a second skin. Are you sure this isn't too much? I asked, studying my reflection. Princess, Damon drawled from the couch. If by too much you mean it screams queen who owns the night, then yes.
Keep it.
I laughed and smoothed the dress, nodding to myself. This is the one. A gasp rang behind me. I turned to see Nadine, face twisted in rage.
No.
Tell me that filthy thing isn't wearing my dress. I scoffed. What ill wind blew you in here, Nadine? Without warning, she lunged. Take off my fucking dress. Not today, Satan. I snapped, stepping out of her way. Nadine crashed into the mirror, glaring at me like I'd committed a crime. People around us whispered, and Nadine suddenly began her fake sobbing. How could you push me, Lily? She wailed. I only wanted to see the dress. Why are you being so mean? I scoffed. Get it together, Nadine. No one's buying your act. This is in New York, and not everyone is Jacob or Peter. Her eyes darted around, realizing no one was taking her seriously. You bitch. You will pay for this, she hissed. I smoothed the dress on my body and smiled. Yes, Nadine, I'm going to pay for this dress because it's stunning. Take it off, or I'll rip it from you, she snapped. I stepped closer, voice dropping to a whisper. I'd like to see you try. She gasped, clearly expecting me to cower. You, Nadine stammered, trailing off. I smirked. Cat got your tongue, honey? Or are you just dumb? The salesgirl snickered. Nadine, noticing she had no audience, screamed. She's a thief. She doesn't even have money to pay for this dress. I rolled my eyes. Is that the best you've got? Ignoring me, Nadine grabbed the salesgirl. Hey you, tell the truth. She hasn't paid for this, right? The girl whimpered. Miss, you're hurting me. Shut your trap and answer my question. Nadine snapped. Before the girl could respond, a man stepped forward. His tag read, Manager. The dress was ordered by a VIP who already paid for it, he said firmly. Please refrain from harassing customers or staff. Nadine turned to him, feigning innocence. No, I'm just trying to save your store from thieves like her. The manager's eyes narrowed. It seems you're the only one fitting that description. Security. Nadine shrieked, pointing at me. No. It's her. Throw her out. I laughed and waved. Bye, trash. Security arrived, dragging her away as she screamed and thrashed. Do you know who I am? You'll regret this, Lily. This isn't over. Once she was gone, the manager approached me. Are you all right, ma'am? I nodded. Yes, thank you. Then please change back. We'll package the dress for you. I returned to the dressing room, then emerged minutes later. The salesgirl quickly took the dress to pack it. A few minutes after that, Damon returned, smiling. Did you miss me, princess? He asked, kissing my cheek. I blushed. Stop doing that, we're outside. He shrugged. I don't care, princess. While you were gone, Nadine showed up, I told him. He froze for a second, eyes locked on mine. I thought she was in New York. I shrugged. So did I. A slow smirk spread across his face. Tell me everything. As we drove home, I recounted every detail he'd missed, and he laughed heartily. Oh, I wish I'd been there to see it. You're such a badass now, princess, he said, pulling up in front of my house. I looked at him, concern in my eyes. I know it's been years, but you love Nadine. Have you really gotten over her? He shrugged. I was crushed back then, yes.
But that's the past.
Now, I just want revenge. She tried to ruin my life, Lily. And it would have worked if I hadn't decided I could do better. I nodded. I get it. They've all tried to destroy us. Now it's time they pay. Damon smiled. Nadine arrived just in time. Her file will be completed in 2 days, and then we can take her down. A thrill of satisfaction coursed through me. I can't wait, I grinned. I'll be standing over her crushed soul, having the last laugh. Damon chuckled. What's happened? You sound dangerous. I laughed, feeling unstoppable. Oh, you have no idea, Damon. The first thing my mother asked the moment I stepped inside the house was obvious. After plotting and grinning mischievously with Damon earlier, he'd kissed me once more before letting me leave, promising to pick me up at 7. I was elated, giggling, butterflies in my stomach, excited not just for the kiss, but for the thought of laughing over Nadine's miserable face. What do you mean? I asked, feigning innocence. My parents exchanged a glance. Something's happened, princess, my dad said. And you can tell just by looking at me? I teased. They shrugged, my mother smirking. Get sarcastic all you want, baby girl, but I can see the glow in your eyes, she said. I groaned. Nothing sneaks past you two. That's why we're parents, they said, laughing. Now spill, my mom urged. I shrugged. I saw Nadine at the store today. My mom gasped. My dad's knuckles clenched in anger. Did she hurt you? My mom asked. Did she say anything? Should I teach her a lesson, princess? My dad asked. I grinned. I'm blessed to have you both, but I handled it. She ended up on the floor and was thrown out. They relaxed, smiling. All right, that's better. Now let's get you ready for the art show, my mom said, dragging me to my room. She sat me down and began prepping my face for makeup. Mom had always been good with hair and makeup, taking classes since I was little so she could do this for every date and prom night. So, are you going to tell me the main reason you're glowing? She asked. I frowned. I don't know what you mean, Mom. Don't frown, darling. You'll crease the makeup. Smile and tell me. I sighed. Mom seemed well-versed in love. She'd give the best advice. When are we shopping for the wedding dress? I asked. Tomorrow. Any problem, princess, she replied. Damon kissed me, I blurted. I knew it. Mom grinned. You knew? I asked, puzzled. I've seen how you act around him, princess. You blush, you get flustered, you shine. He makes you happy. I sighed. He does say all the right things, even when he's flirty. Talking to him feels easy. Baby girl, Damon's relaxed and laughing around you like never before. I hope you both figure it out and go for what you want. But what if? No what ifs, baby girl. All done. Time to slip into your dress. I wore the floor-length black velvet gown, studded with tiny diamonds. I looked stunning. Thanks, Mom, I said, hugging her. I'm just glad to finally use my skills, she smiled. Downstairs, Damon and my dad waited. My princess, you look stunning. Have fun, my dad said. Damon, in a black tuxedo, hair perfectly styled, took my hand and led me to the car. I'm so glad you got this dress, Lily. No one else could pull it off like you, he said, driving off as I blushed. The Sterling Foundation's private art gala was packed. Champagne flutes clinked, whispers echoed, and cameras flashed like Paris Fashion Week. Do I really have to stay the whole night? I whispered to Damon as we made our way to the main hall. His hand rested lightly on my lower back, grounding me. You're the guest of honor, princess. CEO of the Heart Corporation. Just smile and we'll be fine, he said smoothly. I rolled my eyes. You're enjoying this too much. I enjoy everything that makes you shine, he replied. Oh, shut up, I giggled. Damon introduced me to investors and artists. I even discussed a painting called Distorted Reflections with the painter. Okay, I'm bored, I muttered after the fifth painting. I'm bored too, Damon said. Then he smirked. You know what will be more fun? Making out behind one of these paintings. I gasped, blushing furiously. That's scandalous, Damon. We're outside. His hands encircled my waist. Oh, come on. What's the worst that can happen? We're engaged. Still giggling and blushing, I followed him behind a huge painting. The thought of being seen at any moment made my heart race. Once safely hidden, he kissed me passionately. A small moan escaped my throat as I ran my hands through his hair. Suddenly, a familiar voice cut through the moment. Lily? The voice froze me mid-kiss. For a full beat, 50 seconds that felt like an eternity, my brain short-circuited, then rage flooded back, so hot it shook me. Lily, what the hell? The voice demanded. I tore myself away from Damon and turned. Standing in the gallery doorway, like a rude, impossible memory, was Jacob Reynolds. You've got to be kidding me, I hissed, barely able to keep my hands from trembling. Damon moved in front of me automatically, arms settling protectively around my waist. Lily, I looked everywhere for you, and now I find you making out with another man? Jacob sounded wounded, and the theatricality of it made me want to laugh. Damon shot him a sharp look. Excuse me, who the hell are you to barge in here? This woman isn't your property. Jacob's jaw tightened. Who do you think you are? She's my wife. Laughter burst out of me, cold and sharp. You're a joke, I spat. Jacob tried reasoning, voice breaking with contrived pain. What did he do to you? What have you become? You didn't act like this before. You wouldn't just kiss strangers. Without thinking, I slapped him hard. The sound cracked through the hall. For a second he stood stunned, eyes flicking through guilt, disbelief, something like acceptance. I deserved that, he muttered. I turned to Damon. Sweetheart, how did this clown get in here? I asked. Damon shrugged. Open gallery. Security must have been asleep, he said, calm but visibly bristling. Jacob rushed on, words tumbling out. He told the same old story. He'd been frantic. He thought the burnt body was me. He'd searched. He'd missed me, pleading for a second chance. He acted like a betrayed lover, but his tone reeked of entitlement. Shut up. I cut him off. You disgust me. He blinked, baffled. Why do you sound like that? You're different. Different because I'm not the scared, quiet girl you used to boss around. Different because now I speak and you listen. Now get out, I said, venom clear. He tried another tack, pleading to fix things, promising divorce, promising care. The audacity made me laugh. Damon's jaw tightened. He stepped forward. Get out.
Now.
Jacob scoffed. You'd marry him? Really? That was the last straw. Damon moved before I could think. His punch landed clean across Jacob's face, and the gallery erupted. Stunned gasps, a scattering of observers, the taste of adrenaline loud and immediate. Security rushed in. Jacob staggered, clutching his cheek, fury burning in his eyes, but also something softer. Fear, maybe realization. Damon stayed between us like a shield, steady and dangerous. I watched Jacob disappear under a flurry of outrage and questions and felt a fierce, private satisfaction. He'd come back looking for the woman he thought he owned, and found someone else entirely. The satisfying crack of Jacob's nose made me grin so hard I almost wanted a picture. Here, love, let me help. I teased Damon, dabbing at his knuckles with a handkerchief. Jacob was about to lunge again when security finally arrived and dragged him away. Damon turned to me, eyes bright with concern.
I'm so sorry, Lily.
I didn't expect him to show up. I shook my head, smiling. It's fine, Damon. Not your fault. He exhaled, frustration rolling off him. I know you handled him well, but I should have punched him sooner. That narcissistic jerk had no right talking about you that way. I chuckled, feeling warmth spread in my chest. I'm glad you're here. My knight in shining armor, who also knows how to enjoy a little fun in public. Damon raised an eyebrow, mischief sparkling in his eyes. Looks like my flirty vibes are rubbing off on you, princess. I laughed. Just a little. Makes life more exciting. He leaned closer, voice lowering. I've already instructed security to handle Peter and Nadine too. They were spotted near the gallery. I smiled, feeling spoiled. Damon's tone shifted to a whisper, brushing my ear. And I haven't even begun to spoil you properly yet. Just imagine it, princess. A shiver ran down my spine, heat pooling in places that had nothing to do with the art around us. By the time he pulled back, I was already flushed. Princess, you're so scandalously easy to tease, he murmured. I slapped his arm playfully, cheeks burning. Stop it. You're making me a tomato. A passing couple stopped, giggling. The woman leaned over. Oh, I see young love when I see it, she whispered. Her companion smirked. Yes, honey. Her face is red like yours gets. The woman's face instantly matched mine. Mortified, we nodded apologies and moved along. Damon sighed dramatically. Oh no, seems I'm catching the infectious disease you're spreading. What disease? I asked, frowning. Love, he said with a grin. And the cure? A kiss. I looked away, cheeks aflame. Are you saying you're in love with me? He tilted his head, thoughtful. Maybe, but I'll need a kiss to be sure. I laughed softly, slapping his arm. You doofus. Always funny. The gallery ended on a high note, and for the first time in my life, I genuinely enjoyed myself. Damon drove me home, but when we reached my driveway, his expression turned serious. Lily, I wasn't joking. I've never felt this way in a long time. We started this as an arranged marriage, a revenge pact, but you're unlike anyone I've ever met. Beautiful, intelligent, resilient. I'm in love with you. The moment I saw you, I wanted to kiss you, and more. My cheeks heated at his words. I thought it was just hormones at first. Tried to move on, but I couldn't. You kept popping into my thoughts. Weeks later, I'm sure this isn't lust. I want to be with you every day, and I can't wait for our wedding. I was speechless, my chest tight. My mind screamed to run, to protect myself, but my heart betrayed me. I don't know what to say. I stammered. Damon smiled softly. No need to say anything, princess.
Take your time.
If you need space or even decide to back out, I'll still support you and help you with your revenge. But I hope you want me around. He kissed my forehead, helping me out of the car before waving goodbye. I stood frozen, heart racing. Wow, I whispered to myself. A familiar voice broke my daze. Lily, can we talk? I rolled my eyes, turning to see Jacob and Peter, guilt written across their faces. What are you doing here? And which security guard is about to get fired tonight?
Calm down, Lily.
We just want to talk, Jacob said, trying to sound reasonable. I scoffed. You've got some nerve telling me what to do. Then I noticed the stitches on his nose and giggled. Oh, this new look suits you. It screams, look at me, I'm a narcissistic loser. Let me take another picture for reference. Jacob sighed. Laugh all you want, Lily. I messed up and I want to make it right. I rolled my eyes. Then start by getting out of my face. Peter staggered forward, reeking of alcohol. I'm sorry, Lily. I hurt you. Please, just forgive me, he cried, collapsing to his knees. Jacob pleaded. Lily, please, we need you. Peter's been drinking non-stop since you left. You know how bad that makes him. I stared at the pathetic pair before me. Peter, sobbing uncontrollably on the floor, and Jacob, looking like someone had ruined his meal. A wicked grin spread across my face. I stepped forward and kicked Peter in the ribs. He fell harder, still sobbing. Yes, Jacob, I said sweetly. I know drinking makes him pathetic, but newsflash, I don't care. Jacob's eyes widened. How can you say that, Lily? The last time he drank like this was after our parents died. And now you're just gloating? I shook my head, my voice cold. You pathetic pieces of shit. Yes, I'm cruel. And the only thing that will make me happy is seeing both of you suffer. Don't test me, or I'll break your legs. Jacob's voice trembled. It's like you're a different person. Is it the men you've been with? How much are they giving you? I'll double it. Just come home and stop this insanity. I had enough. I softened my expression, like the old Lily who used to be docile. I'm so sorry, Jacob, I started, and his smile grew, thinking I was yielding. Then I snapped. I'm sorry, you're such an asshole who can't read the fucking room. Before he could respond, I kneed him square in the balls. He groaned and crumpled to the floor. I stood over them, voice ice cold. You pathetic assholes. If I see you near me again, you'll regret it. Get this through your pig-headed skull. I'm not going anywhere with you. Still groaning on the floor, I tapped my feet impatiently and called security. They arrived promptly. Get these assholes out of here, I ordered. And fire the person who let them in. The next morning, I woke to my parents staring at me. Holy hell, you scared me, I grumbled, rubbing my eyes. Sorry, honey, we were trying to wake you, Mom said. What happened now? I asked, frowning. Dad smirked. Aside from needing to go to work? I have an alarm clock for that, I muttered. Mom sighed. You didn't come home last night. Security filled us in on what happened. Dad added, we're happy to see you can handle yourself and Damon just fine. I smiled. Thanks. I can't always have you guys protecting me. I have to stand up for myself now. Dad nodded. The security who let them in? Already fired. Thanks, parents. Now, can I get ready for work? Have fun today, love, they said, leaving. I picked up my phone. A text from Damon made my cheeks heat. Hi, princess. You invaded my dreams last night, and now my waking hours too. Dinner tonight? You'll be my dessert. Have a nice day, beautiful. I blushed, shaking my head. The man had a way of doing that with a single message. At the office, my secretary met me at the elevator. 2 people are waiting in your office, Mississippi. They have a business proposal and want investment, she informed me. I nodded, opening my office door with a slow, satisfied smile. And there they were, Jacob and Peter. Well, I said, voice dripping with sarcasm. Look what the ill wind blew into my office. Lily, what are you doing here? Jacob asked, standing up as if he'd stumbled into someone else's life. Peter looked marginally less wrecked than last night, but still pathetic. He tried to grin through the hangover haze. Did you feel bad about last night and come looking for us? We don't mind, Jacob and I aren't upset, as long as you come home. Peter pleaded, eyes wide and pleading. The same hopeful look he wore 15 years ago. I remembered how it used to soften me. Not anymore. Will you come home with us, Lily? Be our sister again.
We won't be angry, he begged.
I let the memory die. Oh, sweet Peter. I said, amused and cruel. I'd love to come home, except you and your brother have been absolute assholes. I dropped into my chair, propped my feet on the desk, and stared at them. Don't be so mean, Jacob snapped. Peter's sensitive. Not my problem, I replied. If he's such a baby, why isn't Nadine looking after him? After all, she's raising your daughter. Unless it's Peter's child, or wait, what lie is it today? I've lost track. Jacob tried to steer things back. We've hurt you, Lily. Please, this isn't the time. The CEO will arrive soon. You shouldn't be sitting in her chair. I reached across the desk and tapped the gold nameplate in big bold letters. Lily Hart, CEO. Jacob's face went white. Holy shit. Peter's eyes widened. Her last name Hart. How could we forget? I relaxed into the recliner and smiled. You forgot, because your whole world revolved around you too. You assumed I existed only to serve your needs. That was true once, until I found the truth about both of you. None of you deserved me. They were speechless. I knew what they were thinking, how to worm their way back in. Spoiler, not happening. Get out, I said, calm and final. The men looked stunned. Peter's voice cracked. You can't do this to us. We raised you for 15 years. You owe us. Jacob added, sounding entitled. I laughed. You have the gall to call it taking care of me? After everything? How dare you? The slap landed before thought could stop it. Sharp, clean, and satisfying. Peter dropped to his knees, sobbing. Please, Lily, help us. Our company's collapsing. I raised an eyebrow. You're broke when you're married to a gray? That's impressive. Jacob tried to explain. Lost contracts, bad deals, Nadine pulling support because Jacob wanted a divorce, and pleaded for mercy. Peter's sobs made a sad chorus. I shrugged. I don't care if your company folds. It'll only make me happier. Their desperation made them uglier. Jacob begged, voice raw. Please, I'll do anything. We still love you. Let me make it right. An idea bloomed, and a smirk crept across my face. Maybe there is something you can do to earn my help, I said slowly. Jacob's face brightened. Anything. Name it. I leaned forward, voice cool. First lick my shoes. Then we'll talk about the next step. Silence fell. They stared, humiliated and broken on the office rug, while I sat, CEO by nameplate and deed, finally in control. Jacob's jaw dropped so far I could have caught it in my hand. What? He croaked, staring at me like I'd grown a second head. You heard me, I said, smiling like a cat who'd just seen the canary. He exchanged a hopeless look with Peter. This is humiliating, Jacob protested. We hurt you, Lily. We can make it right. Then you'll do exactly as I say, no questions. No whining, I replied. Jacob hesitated, then tried bargaining. If we do everything, will you invest in our company? He asked, desperate. I shook my head once, slow. Do what I say and I will invest. We'll sign it, make it legal. Their faces flickered between hope and suspicion. Jacob swallowed and agreed. My secretary drafted the paper. They signed, and I reclined in my chair, savoring the moment. Hurry up. I have dinner with my fiancé, I told them, indulgent. Then the sight of them on their knees, licking my shoes, felt like the first small victory. When they finished, I stood. Good. You passed the warm-up. Now for the real tests. Their faces turned pale. I led them, flanked by company guards, to the main hall, where employees and a projector waited. The curtains drew back. A film began to play. On the screen, their worst fears unfolded. Staged abduction, an alley, men appearing from shadows, a brutal beating scripted to terrify but not kill. I told the men to avoid life-threatening damage. The intent was punishment, not murder, but the blows looked convincing. Jacob and Peter's protests echoed in the hall as footage showed them being stabbed and left bleeding. Later they would be rescued and stitched up. This was theater designed to make them feel helpless. What the hell is this? Jacob shouted, panic finally surfacing. They were hustled away after the screening, taken, attacked, then treated and patched up just as the footage had promised. I visited them afterward in the hospital. Jacob pleaded, weak and angry. This is too far. You said tasks, not this. You signed, I said flatly. If you stop now, the contract is void. They begged for mercy. Please, Lily, this is enough. Invest in our company, and we'll do whatever. I only smiled. The next sequences pushed them farther, shoved from a moving vehicle onto a roadside, left bleeding, then rescued, shoved into a freezer long enough to terrify, then revived. Each time they were brought back, stitched, humiliated, and handed a new demand. By the time I visited them again, both men were broken and pleading, crawling on the linoleum with the same vulnerability I had once felt. "Please," they begged. "No more." "You wanted revenge?" I asked. "I'm merely giving you a taste of what you served me." I told them plainly that I'd tried to reenact the worst of their cruelties, the bottle shards, the humiliation, but found some scenes too dull to replay. This version would be surgical. Fear, consequence, and a contract as the bait. When the guards returned, they carted the brothers off to jail, not for the acts I staged, but because the public complaints and police reports, instigated by my people, were enough to land them in custody for a while. They were beaten and released repeatedly. The loop of terror and rescue had been my lesson plan. Finally, when they were patched up and desperate, they thrust the signed document at me. "Invest," they begged. I shrugged. "You did what I asked, but I don't feel like investing." Their faces collapsed into disbelief and rage. "You promised," Peter hissed. "Promises are for people who keep them," I said sweetly. "You wanted to bet on me? You gave me paper. Turnabout is fair play." They howled that I'd been cruel. "We have this signed agreement. We'll sue." I smiled and offered to drive them to court myself. They climbed into my car like beaten dogs. When the judge read the contract, he shook his head. "This is a sham," he said. "This document won't stand." In that courtroom moment, watching hope die on their faces, I felt something like triumph, the same icy satisfaction I'd felt when I burned the mansion and planted the fake corpse. They had pawned a fake marriage on me for years. I had handed them a fake business deal in return. The scales had tipped. They left, furious, humiliated, bankrupt of dignity, and I walked away lighter, the nameplate on my desk catching the light. Lily Hart, CEO. The revenge wasn't just spectacle. It was reclamation. How could you be so cruel? We went through all that for nothing. "I'll kill you," Jacob yelled, raging like a madman. Security quickly grabbed him and his wailing brother, dragging them away while I walked past, calm and collected. My driver opened the car door, and I slid inside. The phone rang immediately. "Princess, you left me on read," Damon's smooth voice purred. I sighed in relief. After everything I'd been through today, hearing him was like a balm. "Oh, boy," he continued, teasing. "That sigh, where should I meet you?" "I'm on my way to your penthouse, Mr. Sterling," I replied. Damon gasped dramatically. "Oh. Isn't it scandalous for a young engaged couple to be alone in a big house?" I laughed. "I'm coming for dinner, Damon. Behave, and maybe I'll let you have dessert." "That's an enticing proposal." "See you soon, princess," he said, ending the call. I leaned back in the seat, finally letting myself exhale. I didn't feel guilty about Jacob and Peter. Everyone involved in my staged revenge had been careful, unlike when I suffered. No one cared then. They cut open my stomach to retrieve a dead baby, left me kneeling on broken glass in the rain, left me to bleed to death in freezing conditions. No one had thought of me. Now it was justice. The car stopped outside Damon's penthouse. I stepped out and ordered the driver home. Damon met me in the lobby, flashing that lazy, dangerous grin, guiding me toward the elevator. "How are you?" he asked. I fell into his arms, intending only a hug, but the day's tension cracked me open. I cried until there were no tears left, and the elevator dinged without us leaving. Damon held me close, whispering soothing words. "I'm sorry. I don't know what came over me," I mumbled, sniffling into his chest. "That's all right, princess. You don't have to apologize. You're human. You have feelings." "I saw Jacob and Peter today," I began, voice shaking. "They begged for help, so I set conditions. I made them endure every fear, every humiliation I faced. No one got seriously hurt, but it made me feel good. And now I wonder if I'm a psycho for not feeling guilty." Damon's lips silenced me. The kiss was sudden, firm, and grounding. I melted into him, letting the world disappear. When he pulled away, I was smiling, hiding in his chest. "You're not a psycho, princess. You're a good person who was taken advantage of. And whatever you did to Jacob and Peter, they had it coming," he said softly. "Really?" I asked, looking up at him. "Really? Deep down, you know it's true. Now come. My grandfather is dying to meet you." We stepped out of the elevator and saw an older man with streaks of gray in his black hair. Strong, lively, and sharp-eyed. I was wondering if you two would stop making out in the elevator, he said dryly. I blushed, laughing. Now I see where Damon got his charm from. The man chuckled. Back in my day, I'd have fought for your hand. Grandpa, you're hilarious, I said, giggling. Yeah, that's why the ladies still come over, he said, winking. I've got a girlfriend coming in an hour. You two need to be in your bedroom by then. The hour passed, and his beautiful girlfriend arrived, confirming his words. Damon groaned as he led me to the bedroom. Your grandfather is such a sweet soul, I said. Yeah, and famous among the ladies, Damon replied, smirking. What about your grandmother? I asked. She died long ago. Grandpa raised me after my parents passed. He finally overcame her death and depression a few years back, Damon explained. Ah, he's wonderful, I gushed. Damon grinned. Want to know what else is sweet? Nadine's case file came in today. Everything we need to put her away. You'll be shocked at what we found. He handed me the folder. My eyes widened as I scanned it. God, she's evil. And I thought Jacob and Peter were bad. I whispered. Damon shrugged. Now I behaved and even cooked dinner. How about that dessert you promised me, huh? I laughed, dropping the folder and grabbing his shirt. You, Mr. Sterling, are one dirty-minded devil, I teased. He kissed me. You love it. And he was right. I didn't go home that night. I stayed with Damon, every second wrapped in his arms, sharing the best night of my life. I woke up to the loud ringing of my phone and groaned, rubbing my eyes. Make it stop. I mumbled from Damon's arms. Damon grabbed the phone and muttered, She's asleep. Damon Sterling, put my daughter on the phone right now, my father's booming voice barked. I shot up, grabbing the phone from Damon, now fully awake. Daddy, hi, I said immediately. Lillian, where the hell have you been for 2 days? He snapped. Wait, 2 days. I froze, thinking back.
Oh, right.
Waking up in Damon's arms, eating, going through Nadine's files, plotting, having sex, falling asleep. I had completely lost track of time. Dad, I wasn't gone for 2 days. I just didn't come home last night, I said. You forgot to call to say you'd be sleeping over at Damon's until tonight. My mother chimed in, voice calm but teasing. I'm sorry, Mom, we've been busy. I admitted, blushing. Was it good? My mom asked innocently. Mom, I and my father shouted simultaneously.
What?
I'm just curious, she shrugged. I glanced at the time and groaned. Mom, I have to go. We're crashing a party. I'll see you soon. Bye, Dad. Love you both. Love you, Princess. Be careful, they said before hanging up. I turned to Damon, who was staring at me like I was a snack. So, was it good? He asked with a smirk. I flushed bright red. I don't know, Mr. Sterling. Maybe I need a little reminder. With pleasure, Princess, he grinned. I giggled as he carried me to the bathroom, and we went another round before taking a bath. When we emerged clean and refreshed, I realized one little problem. I have nothing to wear, I groaned. I took the liberty of getting you a dress earlier today, Damon said, handing me a neatly wrapped package. Inside was a stunning pink ball gown. I smiled as I slipped it on. The fabric flowed perfectly, accentuating my figure. I love it, I whispered. I knew you would, he grinned. Damon, dressed in black pants and a chiffon shirt, grabbed Nadine's case file and held my hands. Let's go end this, Princess. Grandpa was in the sitting room, smirking at our entrance. Boy, you locked her up for 24 hours. What's going to happen on your honeymoon night? I vote for staying indoors for a week. I need a great-grandson running around this house, he joked. My cheeks reddened, and Damon groaned. Do you ever stop, Grandpa? He sighed. Nope, and neither do you, Grandpa replied, winking. We laughed as we entered the elevator. Damon drove us to Nadine's family home, which was buzzing with life. Fairy lights twinkled on the porch, guests held champagne, and soft music drifted from the speakers. Are you ready? Damon asked, and I nodded. The police were already outside, waiting for our signal. We were stopped by security at the door, who demanded an invite. Damon calmly presented his own, the gold-plated card specifically made for the CEO of Sterling Corporation. They let us in. Nadine spotted us immediately, her eyes widening in shock. What are you both doing here? She snapped. We have an invite. Damon was invited. I'm his +1, I said, grinning. You have some nerve after the boutique incident. This is my house. You're dating Damon, the stalker who tried to rape me? I expected better from you, Lily, she sneered. Now, Nadine, we both know the rape story is a lie. I interrupted calmly. She smirked. Even so, no one will believe you. He's a man. I'm the innocent victim. Oh, darling, your evil stops here today, I said. Damon's hands tightened around my waist. Security, throw this trash out. They don't have an invite, she screamed, drawing attention from the crowd, including Jacob and Peter, who were glaring at me. Damon calmly raised the gold-plated invitation. Hold on. We do have an invite. Gasps spread through the crowd. Nadine's grandfather's eyes widened. There's only one invitation like this, specially made for the CEO of Sterling Corporation, he said. Damon smirked. I'm Damon Sterling, CEO of Sterling Corporation. I wish I could say it's a pleasure, but my fiancé will share some sad news. Everyone went silent as I stepped forward. Nadine is a criminal. She orchestrated an attack to kill me, kidnapped me, had me stabbed, shoved me from a moving car, but that wasn't all. She kidnapped an innocent woman and a young girl, forced a doctor to perform IVF on the woman, stole the child at birth, and claimed it as her own. The crowd froze. Nadine laughed deliriously. You're insane, trying to ruin my name and my family, she snapped. You think because you ruined Jacob's company, you can do the same to us? Her father yelled. Where's your proof? Her mother demanded. I smiled. Glad you asked. The doors opened, revealing a man, a woman, and a young girl walking toward us. Nadine staggered back, eyes wide with horror. No, how did you? This can't be. I looked Nadine in the eye, my voice steady. Your family asked for proof, Nadine. I've brought it. Damon handed me a folder. Here, princess. More evidence. I opened it and addressed the room. Inside this file are records of your crimes. 2 years ago, you hired someone to stab me, causing the loss of my 9-month pregnancy. Just weeks ago, you arranged my kidnapping and had me thrown from a moving car, ending my 3-month pregnancy. A collective gasp rippled through the crowd as they turned to stare at Nadine like she was a stranger. But you didn't stop there, I continued. Determined to control Jacob, who foolishly still loved you, you discovered you were barren. Instead of adopting a child, you faked a pregnancy. You kidnapped this doctor's daughter to force his cooperation. You stole Jacob's sperm, had it implanted into a kidnapped woman, then ordered her killed after she gave birth. But the doctor spared her and hid her away. You are not Angel's mother. You are a fraud who even framed Damon for an assault in college while living a double life yourself. Oh my God. Jacob's face went pale. The crowd erupted. She's a monster. The Wicked Witch of Grey House. I can't believe the Greys raised her. I want nothing to do with this family. I took a step forward. Your reckoning is here, Nadine. I am your karma. Peter snarled and slapped her. You deceitful snake. How could you? Her father roared. Mommy, I can explain. Jacob, Nadine's voice cracked. You're no daughter of mine, her mother snapped, striking her as well. Her grandfather's voice cut through the noise. From today, you are no longer a member of the Grey family. You forfeit all inheritance. Security, remove her.
No.
Please, I'm sorry. Nadine screamed as security grabbed her. I waved. Goodbye, Nadine. The police are waiting outside. Suddenly, Peter shouted. Nadine, no. I turned and saw her rushing at me, a knife flashing under the lights. You ruined everything for me, Lily. I'll kill you, she shrieked. The blade never touched me. Damon stepped in front of me, but before I could reach him, Peter shoved us both aside and took the stab himself. He collapsed, blood spreading across his shirt, eyes searching for mine. I told you I'd die before I let anyone harm you, he whispered. Jacob fell to his knees beside him as I stood frozen in Damon's arms. You manipulative devil. Jacob shouted at Nadine. I didn't mean it, Jacob. Her plea was cut short when Jacob, blinded by rage, grabbed the same knife and plunged it into her. By the time the police stormed in, Nadine and Peter were already dead. They arrested Jacob, who turned sorrowful eyes toward me as they led him away. I'm truly sorry, Lily. I wish you all the happiness in the world, he said quietly. The room dissolved into chaos. Guests screamed and scattered. Nadine's grandfather clutched his chest, collapsed, and died of a heart attack on the spot. Damon wrapped his jacket around me and guided me outside. I didn't want anyone to die, I whispered, trembling. I know, princess.
Hush now.
It's over, he murmured, holding me close. I pulled back, tears brimming. You were going to take that knife for me. You could have died, Damon. He nodded. I know, Lily. I'd rather die for you than live without you. You fool. I sobbed, lightly smacking his chest. If you died, it would have destroyed me. Because I love you. Damon's eyes lit up. He dropped to one knee. Then marry me, for real this time. No arrangements. Just us. I took the ring and slid it on my finger. I already said yes, Damon. You just didn't realize it. He swept me into his arms, kissing me deeply and spinning me around. Finally, it was over. 2 days later, I went shopping with my mom for a wedding dress. She was surprised by my choice, but agreed it was perfect. Jacob took his own life in prison. Angel returned to her real mother. The Gray family slid into bankruptcy while Damon, Grandpa, and my family began planning a brighter future. When the wedding day arrived, butterflies swirled in my stomach. I stood outside with my parents and Damon's grandfather, my escorts down the aisle, fidgeting with my dress. This is silly. Maybe I should change, I murmured. No, they all said at once. You're beautiful, my dad smiled. You look stunning, darling, my mom added. You'll make my grandson weak in the knees, Grandpa chuckled. I'm betting on a great-grandchild by tonight.